is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Ohio.
Well, in the immortal words of Fred Rogers, a.k.a. Mr. Rogers, a native of Pittsburgh, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day for baseball. As Fox Sports Ohio brings you Cincinnati Reds baseball as the Reds try to salvage the final of a three-game set. Joey Votto's fans are here. We're here, too. It's the Reds against the Buccos for Game 3. Hi, hello, and welcome to Pittsburgh, everyone. Along with the crafty left-hander Chris Phelps and Jim Day, I'm George Grant. Reds will try to take the final game of the series, and we've been waiting a while for it, but finally Brandon Phillips has really come of age, and he's back on the beam.
Well, maybe he'll be wearing a cardigan sweater today, just like Mr. Rogers. He likes the day so much. He liked it yesterday, I'll tell you that. Brandon Phillips, who's been hitting the ball extremely well. You know, he was in the number 4 slot in the lineup for a lot of the career with the Cincinnati Reds. He's moved back down a little bit in the lineup now, but the last 4 games simply on fire. The home run stroke is back after a long drought. Hit a couple of them the other night. And Brandon Phillips now swinging that big bat because the rest of the Reds offense hasn't been doing a lot. Phillips has really supplied a lot of the power.
After 72 games without a homer, he got a couple. He's trying to keep that going. And speaking of keeping it going, Dan Straley's been the Reds' most consistent pitcher from day one right through to today.
Now here's a guy that would look good in a cardigan sweater. It would be Dan Straley. Maybe not today anyway, but Straley's been so good ever since he got pounded around back on June the 27th by the Chicago Cubs. He gave up 7 runs in that game. He has been lights out. 6 quality starts in a row he's got going on, and Dan Straley's been using a variety of off-speed pitches, change-ups, sliders, nibbling at the corners of the plate, and really pitching the best baseball of his career.
Garrett Cole was an all-star pitcher last year. He's the ace of this staff. Had a rocky first half, but boy, he's pitching his best baseball of the year right now.
Well, he is right now, and you see the record that he's had against the Reds. Never really much success at all for Cole, despite the fact that he averages nearly 96 miles an hour on his fastball. He's one of the hardest throwers out there, Cole is, but the Reds have always figured out a way to get to him, so we'll find if he's got his magic stuff working today or not.
Well, they got magic stuff right side of the infield. Joey Votto, Brandon Phillips together again. Jim Day will have that story next on Fox Sports Ohio.
That was brought to you by Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good? It's Skyline time. Sunny skies here at PNC Park. I'm Jim Day. If there's any two players that are more familiar with themselves than others, well, it would be Brandon Phillips and Joey Votto. Once this game gets started today, they will set a little bit of history. It's our Elk and Elk storylines. With the start today, they will be 4th on the all-time list as far as tandems go. And you look at the names, Bagwell and Biggio leading the way, 1,506 games played together. Garrett Glazzari, Howard Utley. But Votto and Phillips with the start today will supplant Grace and Sandberg on that all-time list. So the Reds fans have grown used to the right side of the Reds infield. The Reds need a W before they head out of town as we head up to the guys that will call George Grant and Chris Welsh.
For your rally pierogi on today. He's still recovering from the pierogi he had on the Clemente Bridge yesterday. Let's check the starting lineup for the Reds and Brian Price. Leading it off for Cincinnati will be Billy Hamilton. Cozart, 14-game hitting streak #2. Votto, Duvall, Phillips, Schebler, Suarez, and Cabrera catching for Straley. And here's the big right-hander Garrett Cole, Chris, who's had an up-and-down season. The Reds have always handled him pretty good, but right now he's pitching as well as he's pitched in a while.
Well, when you break into the major leagues as young as Garrett Cole did and have the kind of success that he had, then obviously the bar of expectation is very high. He's missed about a month or so on the disabled list with some tricep problems up around the shoulders. But he's come back and thrown the ball a lot better in his last couple of starts, picked up wins in both of those.
Here's Billy, overall 4 for 12 in his career against Cole. He's in at .248, 3 homers and 15 knocked in, sitting on 39 stolen bases. That's second in the National League. They'll play him straight away in the infield, shaded towards left in the outfield. That fastball's up and away. Two balls, 2 strikes to the speedy Reds leadoff hitter with Cozart on deck. Down low will go full, of 3-2 count to the Reds leadoff hitter. In this series, Hamilton in game #1 reached on a walk and a single. Game #2, he had an 0 for 4 night. The key play of the game with 2 on in the 9th. He hit a shot down the third base line that Dong garnered. If he didn't, it would have gone into the corner. At least 1, maybe 2 runs would have scored. We would have had a tie ball game. So Billy's on, marching down with his 39th stolen base. His next stolen base is 40th. Would put him in a category of rarity. He and Joe Morgan, who stole 40 plus for 6 straight years, it would give him another year of 40 stolen bases. Here's Zach, 14-game hitting streak for Cozart, 266, 15 homers, 41 knocked in. Infielders move in a step, double play depth. There goes Billy. There comes the throw from Fryer, won't be in time, and there is stolen bag #40 for Billy.
Well, that shouldn't stun you very much, but what stuns me about the beginning of this ball game is how Garrett Cole can't throw strikes to Billy Hamilton. I mean, you get him on the base path, it changes entirely the complex of this inning. Now you've got Hamilton scoring position, chance now for Cozart to move him over and bring an easy RBI chance up for Joey Votto.
Here's Harrison almost on the bag, trying to keep Hamilton as tight as he can, so that opens a big hole on the right side for Cozart.
I think now Harrison's going to call timeout and say, all right, we got to have a plan right here for Billy Hamilton, because we can't have you splitting your attention between the runner and the hitter. So I'm going to give you a sign when I'm going to go to second base, and if I don't give you that sign, just go to the plate. That's the kind of thing they normally get worked out ahead of time, but sometimes the pitchers will refuse to admit that you're going to let a Billy Hamilton on the base paths.
Cozart trying to go to the right side, fouls it off. No balls and 2 strikes to the Red shortstop. Pirates wearing their 1979 throwback unis. That's the We Are Family uni, and boy, they look a lot different than looking at Dave Parker and Pop Stargell, don't they, Chris?
That was an intimidating team.
That was big time.
They were big, they were mean, they took no prisoners. and they were awfully good. And a lot of people who followed them very closely, George, we talk about it from time to time about how maybe the Pirates would have been the team that people remembered in the 70s had they been able to beat the Reds in the playoffs a couple of times. We would not have thought about the Big Red Machine the same way, because the Pirates were an awfully good baseball team.
Reds and Pirates each made it to the National League Championship Series 6 times in the 70s. The Reds won more, beating the Pirates more often than not. Bouncer towards short. Hamilton will stay at second, and they'll get Cozart. There's one away. There's your 4 defensive alignment for the Buccos. They're 4th in the league defensively with only 58 errors, and the guy at short, Jordy Mercer's been outstanding. He hasn't made an error in the last 68 games dating back to May. The #1 percentage shortstop in the league. Harrison's always tough against the Reds, the Cincinnati product. And Fryer gets the start for Cole. Eric picked up mid-season from the Cardinals after he was designated for assignment. Here's Joey Votto at 289, 18 homers, 54 knocked in. He's had some success against Cole, 4 for 15 for his career. Fastball way up high and out of the strike zone for ball 1. Now they usually will overshift on the right side, and they do here. Harrison goes well into right field, but with a runner on second, Mercer's right behind the second base bag, so there's a hole open for Votto between short and second. There goes Billy. Throw down, not in time. Make it 41 on the season for Billy Hamilton.
Boy, Garrett Cole's got to be thinking on the mound right now, if I had only thrown strikes to this guy, we wouldn't be in this predicament right now, because there's just no way that Cole can hold him close enough at either base, first base or second base, to keep from stealing, giving Eric Fryer even a chance to throw him out.
They'll keep the middle of the infield back as the Reds try to take an early 1-0 lead with Votto at the plate. Now, we've talked about this often. There's not many folks better. The most steals at third. Milwaukee 24, Cleveland 17, and Billy by himself 16. Milwaukee, of course, leads the National League in stolen bases with 112. The Reds have been near the top all year long. They now have 92. In the dirt, blocked by Fryer. In fact, the Pirates are stealing more this year too. The Pirates on the season 83 stolen bases, right behind the Reds. Starling Marte right behind Billy Hamilton. He's sitting at 39 stolen bases coming into today. Votto chokes up, pops it foul. 2-2.
Really trying just to protect the plate right here. Votto is. He'd like a ball out on the outer part of the plate, no doubt, but even the pitch is hard inside. I mean, and Cole does average about 96, so you got to get that bat head going a little bit, even if you're going to foul it off.
And Joey knows the importance of this at bat. I mean, a ground ball will get a run in. Just trying to make contact and pick up his 55th run batted in. From the stretch, Cole. Miss it inside. Another full count, 3-2. Choking up as Joey stays alive. We'll try it again. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Similar to the way Homer Bailey started yesterday. If you weren't with us yesterday, Bailey went 3+ innings in 78 pitches. He allowed 3 runs and then 2 scored after he left. But early on, didn't find the strike zone and had a couple of hard hit balls in the first and second innings. 3-2. Ball 4, 2 walks in the inning. And that'll bring up Adam Duvall.
You know, when you see Garrett Cole and then today against Dan Straley, you're going to see two completely different styles of pitching. When Cole needs a pitch, what he normally does is add a little bit to the pitch. He has more velocity, more arm speed on the slider. When Dan Straley needs to add a pitch, he'll take a little bit off and throw more of a changeup and even more of a slower breaking ball.
It's one of the bugaboos for Cole this year. He usually averages 4 strikeouts per walk. This year it's been less than 3 strikeouts per walk, walking more, and those runs have more often than not crossed the plate. He comes in with a 7-6 record, 92 innings pitched, 93 hits. That's not what you expected from Cole.
No, but again, you know, you raise the bar of expectations because the guy has been so good. Last year came in 4th in the Cy Young voting. So you expect him to go out and duplicate. Not an easy thing to do.
1st and 3rd for the Reds. Duvall fouls it off. Here's that strikeout per 9 that you look at over the last 3 years. And really, he's 25, won't turn 26 till September. 9, 8.7, and this year 7.5. And at the same time, the walk ratio is going up this year.
And there are teams that have 25-year-olds in AA.
Strike 1. There goes Votto. That's popped back and out of play.
Well, Cole has never really been good at holding runners. This year, no exception. He has given up 12 successful stolen bases. Pirates catchers have thrown out 1. So that's got to be part of your game plan.
You know, Chris, it's funny because he's one of the better fielding pitchers in the game, not just the National League. And he's been a finalist for the Gold Glove a couple of times. So he's a good athlete, but just hasn't condensed that motion and developed a good move to first.
Big dude, 6'4", 230. It's kind of hard to be compact when you can hardly fit in an elevator.
He would have fit in with the We Are Family group.
Yes, he would have.
He would have.
He would have been one of the smaller guys, but he would have fit in.
He would have. He would have. And, you know, that's part of the transition of this club. I mean, number 45 on the mound is now looked at in the future as a leader on this club. You lose an A.J. Burnett, who was a leader in his way. You lose Liriano, who was a leader among the pitchers. You lose Melanson, who was a leader. And they're looking to Cole to do it on the field, but also do it in the clubhouse. 1 and 2.
Fair ball.
To 3rd, it's a fair ball. They'll go to 1st. The throw to the plate will be in time, but it gets away from Fryer, and Billy will score. Hamilton had to retreat to 3rd because the ball was right down the line. They got the out at 1st, and he would have been a dead duck if the throw was on line. Was it? Got by Fryer, and the Reds lead it 1-0.
Well, the throw was rushed by the first baseman, John Jaso, and that was basically because Billy Hamilton is so fast. Ball goes right down the line, and it is fielded by the 3rd baseman, Gung, and he throws it across. Now, Jaso, all he has to do is throw a strike, and you have Billy Hamilton, but he throws it by the catcher, and it goes all the way to the backstop by the Pirate dugout. This is just one of those forced errors because of Hamilton's speed.
Great job by Billy. He made the right move to go back to the bag, because if he had gone home, Gung would have had him easily. So it'll go as a infield out, 5-3. Here's a liner into center. Here comes Votto around 3rd. Hatcher's going to send him. Here comes the throw by McCutchen all the way to the plate, and he is safe. He didn't slide, but he's safe. He beat the tag. He almost had his pocket picked. Joey touches the plate with his left foot, but the ball coming to the plate just about beat him there. He's lucky without sliding that he gets in.
It didn't look like it was even going to be close, but the throw is a very good one, and Votto's running hard. I don't know why he didn't slide. Maybe Scott Schebler in the on-deck circle wasn't indicating that he should slide. But he kind of tiptoes around the tag right there and gets his foot in.
Then Hurdle waved his hand in the air, debating down in his clubhouse whether to challenge or not. Whether the tag by Fryer hit Votto's leg before his foot hit the plate, still no word.
Or did he touch the plate is one of maybe the other question. And they're going to at least have a conference.
Well, let's see. He's on his way out. Hasn't raised his hand to challenge yet.
You know, two things about going at a home plate like that. I'm not sure how they're going to review it. They are going to review it. Two things to consider, though. We've seen 2 plays at the plate that have been fairly close. One, Joey Votto, when in doubt, slide. And maybe he didn't think there was a play on him, but it wouldn't have hurt him if he, gets his pants dirty a little bit. Secondly, Billy Hamilton did slide, but I sure would like to see him go feet first into home plate. Had that throw been on the money, and Eric Fryer been able to get his knee in front of Hamilton, that could have been a bad injury for Hamilton. So in this case, did they touch him? Did he touch the plate? Remember that the black edge around the plate is not part of home plate.
It looks like he got his toe on the white, so he would be safe. And that's the way it is ruled. So the Reds will get a run out of it. And hey, how about Brandon Phillips? He keeps getting the job done. Broke out of his home run slump with 2. And now this base hit plates another run batted in. 44 on the season, and the Reds lead it 2-0.
Both walks have scored.
Oh, those walks haunt, don't they? It goes both ways.
Don't tell me you're the guy behind that scoreboard graphic of the old Riverfront.
Oh, Brian Hunterman was in the scoreboard back in those days, so it traces back to him. That was one of them. I mean, you always look forward to that, didn't you?
No.
Not as a pitcher. But they never put it up when you were pitching.
Well, they did. They made the exception for me.
All right. Phillips in scoring position out at second.
This could be one of those real testy innings now for Garrett Cole. You get another hit right here, you score another run. He had almost 100 pitches his last time out just to get through 5 innings.
And the other part of that play, Chris, you couldn't see on the replay, and I was watching the runner, not watching Schebler. Was he saying slide? Was he motioning slide? From what I saw, and I wasn't watching him closely, he didn't make that motion. So that's all part of the equation. That's your job in the on-deck circle.
Absolutely right.
Well, here's Schebler, 207, couple of homers, 4 knocked in. He's got a run out there at second with 2 away. That's up and away.
I'll tell you, Garrett Cole looks anything but locked in right now.
Phillips dancing around at second. Schebler waves at that high fastball. Still got the velocity at 95.
Cut loose at a 3-0 pitch.
Suarez on deck. Hop foul and out of play. Schebler, a guy who came through the Dodger organization as a bright young outfield prospect. Honor after honor throughout his minor league career with the Dodgers. That's a call, strike 3. So from 3-0, Garrett Cole bounces back, gets the strikeout, his first. But oh, those walks will haunt. 2 of them score. Reds lead 2-0. We go to the bottom of one. Let's check the starting lineup for Clint Hurdle in his 6th year of managing the Pittsburgh Pirates. Josh Harrison, Cincinnati native, who's had a good series already, will lead it off. Marte, then McCutchen. Matt Joyce will hit in the cleanup spot. Gong's at 3rd. John Jaso will hit 6th. Jordy Mercer moves up to the 7th spot, and the catcher is Eric Fryer. He'll hit 8th with Garrett Cole, the pitcher, batting 9th. On the mound for the Reds, trying to win his 7th. He's been the most consistent pitcher for the Reds all year long. It's Dan Straley.
Well, he's 6-6 on the year. He's 19-19 in his career. Straley is making start number 66 of his career. And really one of those more unlikely guys that you would consider the base of this Cincinnati Reds rotation.
Hop up to 3rd, almost in his tracks. Suarez will haul it in, and Josh Harrison is retired.
I mean, Straley wasn't part of the plans at all for the Reds in spring training. In fact, he wasn't even part of the Reds ball club until April Fool's Day when the Reds picked him up off the waiver wire. They put him in the bullpen. He pitched pretty well. The Reds needed starters because of injuries and bad performances. He stepped in, and he's gotten better and better as the season's gone on.
Better and better means 6 straight quality starts, 13 on the year. He leads the Reds in inning pitched and in strikeouts. And you see that blip on the radar in June. July and August 2-1 with an ERA of 2.50. And fellow pitchers look at this as one of the key numbers. That's opponents' batting average, and opponents are hitting only .208 against them. That's 7th best in the National League.
Well, it is, but there's another side to that you may consider in the long run, and that would be the batting average on balls in play. The average in the major leagues is somewhere around 290, 295. Right now, Straley's around 230. So what it tells you is that the luck factor has gone Straley's way so far as batting average against.
And the other part of the equation, Chris, he's learned to lean on a 2-seam fastball more than a 4-seamer earlier in his career. He's getting some more ground balls. More than he was earlier. Fly ball by Marte to right. Here's Schebler. Hauls it in right next to the foul line. 2 away, and here comes McCutchen. Here's your poor defensive alignment for the Reds. Reds 13th in the league defensively with 76 miscues on the year. Duvall, Hamilton, Schebler as usual across the outfield. Suarez, Cozart, Phillips, Votto across the infield. Joey and Brandon 1,066 games together. That's number 4 on the all-time list. And Cabrera gets the start behind the plate. Here's Andrew McCutchen at 241, 15 homers, 44 knocked in. The former MVP and Silver Bat winner has been mired in a season-long funk at 241. But yesterday, and his manager Clint Hurdle acknowledged it, had maybe 3 of his best at bats of the last month. Cozart takes care of him there. That's the way to start it out. 1, 2, 3 for Straley. He'll be up 3rd when we return.
Brought to you by T-Mobile. This morning, Alex Rodriguez announced he'll play his final game on Friday and then become a special advisor / instructor for the Yankees through next season, which he signed through next season. We're on the Ichiro watch. He got career hit number 2999 last night. He's in the starting lineup for the Marlins today. And Mike Trout, happy 25th birthday. You saw the numbers he's already put up on Talk Sabermetrics. He is the darling.
Okay, JD, you got a draft. Is Trout your #1 player you draft?
Indeed. No question.
Here's Suarez, pitch swinging, popped up, foul territory, Fryer under it, but Jaso calls him off and finally gloves it. Suarez retired, 1 away. Another look, Chris.
Well, there's not a high sky because there's a lot of clouds scattered around today. This is always an easier catch for the first baseman, and that's why you're normally going to see those guys call them off.
Trout, your #1 pick of a draft, Chris?
I'm with Jim Day on that. I'll use his expertise. I know he studies it day and night.
Well, other than going to the food court down the Clemente Bridge, that's what he does day and night. JD, you staying in the park today? You're going to hit the food trucks again.
I don't think they want me back out there.
I understand from what the Pirate officials told me that you doled out some big money to get a whole load of chow walking across there last night. Pretty big. You're helping the Pittsburgh economy.
Anything to help.
Well, you know, it's amazing he found a spot that would accept that Fox credit card that he's been carrying around.
The one that you lost. Now you know where it is. There's Cabrera. Gets the start in game 3 of this series. Ramon pinch hit in game #1, had a big sacrifice fly in the 9th inning in a game sacrifice fly that tied the game in the top of the 9th before the Pirates won it in the bottom of the 9th. Great at bat by Cabrera.
Hey, what am I missing about this Alex Rodriguez thing here?
Yeah. I
mean, he's got this year at a lot of money, 21 million or so. He's got next year the Yankees have to pay him for that contract. He has 696 home runs in his career, and yet he's calling it quit, you know, right in the middle of the season. What's that all about?
Cabrera bounces it to second. Harrison the flip to first, and there's 2 away. Nice play by the Cincinnati product, Josh Harrison. You know what it probably means is you'll get your money, but there's no challenge and no court case, which you know there would have been if they had in any way tried not to pay him his money. So he'll walk off into the sunset with some $26 million next year. And you know, Jim Day later on will be talking about baseball players who watch soap operas. It was like a soap opera at the ballpark today. Both clubhouses, they had the big screen on, and Alex Rodriguez and Brian Cashman had a joint news conference in New York. It went on for over an hour, where Alex described he was going to make his last appearance on August the 12th as a Yankee and retire and become an advisor to the Yankees.
Is that the rate for advisors nowadays?
That's it. See, that's what you got to do, Chris. Here's Straley still looking for his first hit of the year. That's the going rate in New York anyways. I don't know. Check swing. Cole will garner it in and tap out Straley. So 1-2-3 after the Reds got 2 in the first. When we return, Joyce, Gong, and Jaso do up.
Pirates, and he's had success. And I asked him, with that success, does it give you a bit more of a comfortable feeling as you climb the PNC Park mound?
I feel like the more I face a hitter or a group of hitters, like the better I feel going into that game, because there's no unexpected. You know, you understand how a guy swings, you can see how he takes. So for me, it's more about individual hitter track record than team track record. But you know, I'm aware that I've pitched well against these guys, and so definitely, you know, you have that little extra confidence going into it.
He is a terrific guy to talk pitching with, but if you do it, make sure you carve out at least 20 minutes.
Isn't that the best part of baseball, though? You know, whether it's in the clubhouse or in the dugout or on a bus, you learn, just as Straley did coming up in the Oakland organization, and just as you did, Chris, coming up in the Yankee organization. There's a first pitch swing by Matt Joyce. Cozart calling, got it, one away. You learn by what you do on the field, but you also learn from veterans, and you learn by talking the game.
I think the most interesting thing for Dan Straley is that he's a guy who has really dedicated himself the last few winters to trying to get his velocity up. All around baseball, he looks around, everybody's throwing 95 miles an hour but him. So he went to an academy, Driveline Academy, which I think is out in the Northwest. And they're one of these speed schools essentially trying to teach kids to throw harder before they figure out how to actually pitch. And his velocity did bump up. He went to spring training with the Astros. He was throwing harder than ever before. But yet now that he settles into the major leagues as a starter and a good one, he's backed off that fastball. Backed it off to the point where he has some control over it. He's got more control over the movement of the pitches. And it makes him all around a better pitcher rather than just a hard thrower. Something that I think so many young players need to adopt, but are unwilling to do so because the radar gun rules.
Straley dealing to Gong, who's in at 232-11, homers 37 knocked in. Back in the lineup and back with the club after horrific knee injury and surgery in the offseason. It's taken him a long time to get back, and he's been in and out of the lineup. Met this week with his manager Clint Hurdle to talk about his role for the final 2 months of the season. They'd love to have him catch fire the way he did last year, Chris. What an infusion of offense he gave this club.
Yeah, they struggled in the second half last year. The pitching was really in disarray. The Pirates were. They had some injuries. Gung was one of the main ones that they lost. They really hurt him down the stretch.
Down to third, but foul.
You get back to Straley, and I really don't want to just gloss over the fact that he can throw harder than he's throwing now. But he's decided he's going to back off because what makes him so good is his ability to spot the ball around the strike zone. So we did a little research before the game today. We listed the 3 slowest pitchers in the National League versus the 3 fastest pitchers in the National League.
Billy Hamilton takes charge. Gung retired. 2 away. Here comes Jaso.
And here's the results of that in a panel that on one side you're going to see the slowest fastball pitchers, Kyle Hendricks, Bartolo Colon, Straley. They each average less than 90 miles an hour on the fastball. In fact, they're around 88, 89 miles an hour. The fastest guys, they're Syndergaard, Carlos Martinez, and John Gray. Now look at the overall win-loss records for both of them. 26 and 19 for the slow throwers, 27 and 17 for the fast ones. These guys, by the way, are going to cost you a whole lot more money in the long run than the guys that throw slow. But it just goes to show you, you can out-pitch your stuff. And that's what you can say Kyle Hendricks does. Straley certainly on that list. And where other guys, you know, are there because of their stuff.
Hey, a couple of guys who went in the Hall of Fame the last couple of years, Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine, you can put them on that list. I mean, Maddux was 91, 92, and he realized he had more movement, better location at 88, 89. And when he retired, he was at 86, 87, still getting people out.
Really, all you try to do as a pitcher is give the hitter an opportunity to get himself out. And the better place that you locate your pitches, the better opportunity you're going to give him to make an out.
No greater example than that than Reds' perfect game pitcher Tom Browning. I mean, he'd throw an 86-mile-an-hour fastball at the top of the strike zone, have people wailing at him. Strike one was the most important pitch he delivered. There goes Hamilton back almost in his tracks. He garners Jaso's line drive. 6 up, 6 down for Straley. So far it's working. Hamilton due up. HD and over 400 supported devices on MLB.tv Premium. Includes a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions do apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. And by the way, don't forget tomorrow on MLB.com, the great tournament that's underway in Cincinnati, the RBI Reviving Baseball in the Inner City Tournament with 14 teams from around the country in town. It's going to be broadcast tomorrow's game. Jesse Jackson's going to leave here, head back to Cincinnati to be part of that broadcast. Here's Hamilton, pops it down the right field line. It is a fair ball. He may get 3 out of this. Now it pops over the fence, and he'll stop it 2. He definitely would have had 2, but might have had a triple if it had caromed into the corner. So Billy picks up the 2-bagger. He's on for the second time. He's in scoring position.
Yeah, more headaches for Garrett Cole with Billy Hamilton on the base pass. He just gets a little breaking ball that he floats down the right field line, and a lot of green space. They don't think that Hamilton's going to pull Cole, but he got that breaking ball and a bat head out in front.
Well, Billy's in scoring position. Here's Cozart, who grounded out first time up, and there goes Billy down to third, and he got the hand in before the tag.
Well, a lot of people in the Pirate dugout aren't believing that. In fact, Clint Hurdles walked to the top of the steps immediately, even before he gets the results from the video guy, and says, all right, well, we're going to take a look.
He had stolen 14 straight before this attempt. And Hurdle holds up his right hand and then finally goes back down into the dugout. There will be no challenge. He picked the right corner of the bag to go after, huh?
Well, I mean, he's a smart base runner, and that's what you aim for.
Well, Joe Morgan has the Reds record with 6 straight seasons of 40 or more stolen bases. And he was one of the best in the history of the game at steal it when you need it. And Billy is now the first player with 3 straight seasons of 40 since Michael Bourne from 2008 through 2012. They'll keep the middle of the infield back. Cozart can't get a bat on the ball, so the Reds will still have a runner at third, but only 1 out now. By the way, to get back to that MLB.com broadcast tomorrow, a couple of our favorite guys, Chris, Dimitri Young is going to be doing color on the broadcast, so if you have a chance tomorrow, listen in on Dimitri. And Marlon Anderson's going to be working with him, too. Marlon, outstanding Major League player, great Major League teammate, too. What time's that game tomorrow, Jess? 10:45. Here's Joey, walked first time up. 2 walks, Hamilton and Votto in the first inning. Each of them scored to give the Reds a 2-0 lead. Pirates bring the infield in, edge of the grass, with Hamilton at third. So make it 15 straight steals for Billy. 3 steals today, and that's now 42 on the year. Start of play today. VR had the lead with 41, so depending on what the young Milwaukee infielder does, Billy could have taken the lead with that bag. The man with the happy feet. One ball, 2 strikes. Votto hanging in there, trying to get in the Reds' third run. Way high, 2-2. Now, some pitchers will hit 95, and for that matter, some will hit 98, 100. But Cole regularly pitches at 95, Chris, when he's right, but he doesn't have that pinpoint control we're used to seeing. 2-2. In the air, that'll get the run in. Fly ball to left. Marte will haul it in. Billy can go backwards to the plate. He trots home. And the Reds lead it 3-0. So for Votto, a run batted in, number 55 on the season. Joey delivers the sacrifice fly, and the Reds lead it 3-0. Get him on, get him over, get him in. With Billy, it's get him on, watch him run, then get him in. There's Duvall. His ground ball to third resulted in a run for the Reds in the first inning. With Hamilton on third, he hit one right at the bag. Hamilton went back to the bag so he would not be either tagged out or thrown out at the plate. And when Gong threw the ball to first for the out, Billy broke for the plate. Jaso's throw bounced past Fryer, the catcher, for an error, and the Reds had their first run. He wreaks havoc, doesn't he? Cole continues to get ahead of batters. 1-2 here, but hasn't been able to close them down. What a year he had last year. Almost won 20 games, came close to it the final week of the season, finished 19-8. Over 200 innings, over 200 strikeouts. Those are big numbers.
Well, still in all, though, they were somewhat critical of Garrett Cole in the second half last year. We'll get to that next time he comes to the mound.
3 strikeouts through 3 innings. Reds lead it 3-0. Weekend off with a bang on Fireworks Fridays at the ballpark. Mark it down August the 19th. Cheer on the Reds when they take on the Dodgers for only $12. Plus, don't miss a spectacular post-game fireworks show presented by Tri-Health. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com. 3-0 Cincinnati. Here's Jordy Mercer in at 275, 6 homers, 39 knocked in. At home, he's been red hot, 312 for the year. And solid defensively all the time. The #1 ranked statistical defensive shortstop in the National League. Over the years, they've had some great ones here. Going way back to the likes of Dick Rote. Jay Bell was solid during those championship years. Wilson, go down the list. They've had some good defenders. This guy, maybe not as much range as some others, Chris, but when you hit it to him, he usually takes care of it like Cozart.
He's been very dependable.
1 ball, 2 strikes. We ain't going to miss. Hardy on that fastball. One away. That's strikeout number 1 for Straley.
You know what we're seeing here from Dan Straley is exactly what we've talked about, which is early in the year he was nibbling around the edges of the plate. He was getting himself into hitters' counts. He was pitching okay, but he was only going 5 innings because of his pitch counts. But he now only has 24 pitches in 2 1/3 innings so far. So he's been ultra efficient, mainly because he throws a lot of strikes. Early in the season, April through June, he was 17 pitches per inning, way down the list in National League starters. And then now, less than 14 per inning. That puts him right at the top of the leaderboard. So just goes to show you, you don't have to have great stuff. You just have to have great confidence.
No
Like
balls,
Tom
2
Browning,
strikes.
for instance. That was a great example you brought up there, George. Of course, the reason Browning did it is just he had things to do.
That's right.
He didn't want to hang around the ballpark all day.
Or go across the street at Wrigley and sit up in the cheap seats. And one of the days we'll never forget, huh? Davey Johnson will never forget it either. Center field hit pretty hard. Billy turned around twice. And what a play by Hamilton. He got turned around twice, but only his speed could catch up with it. He robs Fryer of a possible double. And Billy somehow got a glove on it and held on. What a play by Hamilton. Lost his glasses at the same time, but still.
I mean, is this guy a difference maker or what? He's already made a huge difference in this game on the base paths. And here defensively takes away a double.
He's been doing that a lot this year, hasn't he? He's come up with great plays for Straley game after game, and Dan always acknowledges it. Man, like a punch-drunk fighter, he held on to it, toppled to the turf, and still got the out. Here's Cole with 2 away. Man, you come to the park to watch that, don't you? I mean, you know, the old line. That people come to watch offense, but when you got a Billy Hamilton out there, people will come and watch him every day of the week. Australia ahead 0-2 to Cole. Down to third, Suarez. It's a 1-2-3 thanks to Billy. Sometimes it's the steal, sometimes it's the defense, but Billy gets it done. continues to be red hot. He's 5 for 8 in the series, 2 home runs yesterday. That ended his 72-game homerless streak. He delivered on 2 big swings. Already he's got a run-scoring base hit that gave the Reds a 2-0 lead in the first here. That brings us to our IGS Bringing the Energy's numbers. Among second basemen, Chris, with 1,800 hits, 190 homers, or 190 stolen bases in the history of the game, Ryne Sandberg is number 1. Joe Morgan number 2. Biggio, Alomar, Phillips, and guess what? All but Brandon are already in the Hall of Fame.
Interesting stuff right there.
Here's Brandon to lead it off in the 4th. In fact, both of his home runs yesterday were in the leadoff spot. If unfortunately the Reds could have gotten him up with somebody on base, the outcome of yesterday's 5-3 loss might have been different. He singled to center in the 1st, and that scored Votto with the Reds' second run. In his career, he's had success against Cole. After that base hit, he's now 7 for 17 against Cole. Garrett from the full windup. Outfield straight away, infield straight up against Brandon. Line drive, sinking, but caught by the right fielder Joyce. Hit hard again by Phillips, but Joyce was there this time. Here comes Schebler, struck out first time up to end the 1st. Grew up in Idaho, Cedar Rapids, a legendary high school star. Not a 3-sport star, a 4-sport star. And all you have to do is watch him a couple of days in spring training, Chris. You knew he was a great athlete. The question is, how great of a baseball player would he be? The Dodgers, like the Reds in the old days, drafted a lot on tools. You know, the old days of starting with Branch Rickey. You look for the big burly guys that could run and throw and do a lot of things. And certainly he showed that as an amateur and trying to harness it as a pro now.
What 4 sports are we talking about here in high school?
Including soccer. Soccer and track were the other ones. Basketball, football.
So you didn't play basketball?
Yeah, basketball, football, soccer, and track.
What about baseball?
I'm sorry, baseball too. So
that's 5. He's a 5-star guy.
What do you take away? Football, baseball, basketball, soccer and track. Fouled off and a strikeout. He strikes out for the second time. Hey, Reds fans, if you can't catch the games on TV, stream them live on your mobile device with the all-new Fox Sports Go app. Download the app, take Fox Sports Ohio and Reds baseball with you wherever you go. That's down and away. You put Mike Trout in that category, huh? I mean, you know, some guys, whatever you ask them to do, they can do it. Trout's one of those kind of players.
It's amazing that is it his birthday today? Just turning 25 years old. I saw a film clip of him making a catch the other day where by the time he got to the top of his reach, it was 12 feet.
Yeah.
To bring a home run back.
It's interesting now, all the scouts had said, boy, we knew he'd be great. Yeah. Well, they didn't draft him on the 1st round. They drafted him deep, and he always had an impressive physical appearance. And how about this? Back-to-back strikeouts for Cole. He's got it working in the 4th after the Reds have scored 3. 4 strikeouts for Cole. Pittsburgh is brought to you by your local Ford dealer, Ford Go Further, and by Cincinnati Children's, changing the outcome together. It is the Three Rivers Regatta this weekend. Festivities all around the Three Rivers surrounding downtown Pittsburgh. They've closed off the Clemente Bridge as they always do on game day, but they've closed it off for the whole weekend with food trucks and memorabilia, everything you can imagine on the bridge. And we've had 3 great days for baseball. 3 competitive games, unfortunately for the Reds. They've lost the first 2, trying to come up with a win here in game number 3. Josh Harrison in the leadoff spot. Popped out first time up. Harrison in the series. 1 for 4 in game number 1 and 2 for 4 in game number 2. He ignited the Pirates in game 3. Getting on, going to second on an error, and starting a rally that gave the Pirates a lead for good, 3-2. One-handed swing, blooped into left center. Who's going to get there? Duvall will, and there's one away. So they keep Harrison. You know, you want to keep Billy Hamilton off the bases, and for the Pirates, the trigger of their offense has been Josh. Keep him off the bases, you're a step ahead. Mr. Miners, you enjoy a cold one to look forward to Miller time later in today's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Here's Starling Marte, fly to right first time up. Might have broken his bat with that swing. Another fly ball to left. Battling the sun. Duvall has it. 2 quick outs for Straley, and so far so good for the Reds right-hander.
Well, 2 real easy outs for Straley here in this inning, and a lot of the outs have been easy except for that one circus catch that Billy Hamilton made off of Eric Fryer's bat for the second out in the 3rd inning. Everything else has been very routine. He's become one of the more prolific fly ball pitchers in the league. In fact, he only gets 33% ground balls now, Straley does. And what that means is a lot of those breaking balls, you know, he was leaving up in the zone, and they kind of slow their swings down to catch up to him. So maybe that 230 batting average ball in play isn't exactly an aberration. Maybe it's the fact that they're just not lining the ball up on him very well.
No balls, 1 strike to McCutchen, who bounced to short first time up. You talk about a thinking man's pitcher, and we talked about, you know, his philosophy of pitching. While he's always been, and he's played basically in big ballparks in Oakland and Houston, but he's learned in Cincinnati to use the 2-seamer when he needs it, not on a regular basis, but he's used it judiciously at home, kind of like Bronson Arroyo did. 0-2. Straley to McCutchen with 2 away here in the 4th. Takes a little off. Out in front is the Pirate center fielder. 4 innings. 12 up, 12 down for Straley. August the 19th through the 22nd. Thanks to Reach Magazine, you can catch all the action and save with the 4 for $48 ticket offer. Get 4 view level tickets and 4 Reds hats for only $48. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com/4 for $48. Garrett Cole back to work as we go to the 5th. Cabrera in the 8th spot. Straley then the top of the order. Billy Hamilton, George Grant, Chris Welsh. Jim Day will be checking in with Jim Day momentarily. And down in the truck, Josh Hall, our producer. Roy Alfers, our director. Bouncer to the right side, but foul for strike 1. Matt Sigafus giving you some highlight coverage and those graphics. And Chris has been busy all night long. I mean, some people go home after a ball game and go partying. Not our guy. All those numbers that you've seen that Lauren White has been providing for you, detailing the great contribution that Dan Straley's had this year. And of course, back in Cincinnati, Jeff Piccolo, Brian Giesenslaw, Kent Dreamweaver, Ron Millenor, all the editing work of Rob Overberg. Great to have you with us for Reds baseball this weekend. And the road trip continues. You're on to St. Louis tomorrow, Chris.
Yeah, we are, George. It'll be nice and toasty, but the Reds just swept it, or not swept, but took a series from the Cardinals when they came to Great American Ballpark. Hope they can continue that type of winning ways against the Cardinals. Always nice to win in Busch Stadium, a place this year, incidentally, the Cardinals have had a hard time winning.
Bouncer back to Cole. He takes care of a batter for the second time. 1-3 putout. By the way, tomorrow it's Cody Reed still searching for his first win against Michael Wacha. Reds live at 7:30. The game will follow. On Tuesday, Brandon Finnegan against Mike Leake, the former Red. Reds live at 7:30. Game will follow. Then on Wednesday, Anthony DeSclafani against Jaime Garcia. Reds live at 6:30. That is 6:30. The game will follow at about 7:15. Off day in Milwaukee, and then Homer Bailey gets his next start. It'll be Friday in Milwaukee. And talking to Homer today, Chris, he said, you know, no, I wasn't very good yesterday, but, and he acknowledged what we talked about after the game last night, Chris. Part of the package, part of the process coming back after the DL.
And there's no way to shortcut it. I mean, it is what it is. You're going to have a little bit of pain here and there. You're going to have setbacks. You're going to have the mound some days when you just don't feel right. You're going to have all those things, even if you're not coming off of an injury. But it's even compounded more when you are coming off of it, because every time you feel something in your elbow or your arm, you're thinking, uh-oh. Whereas normally pitchers feel those things all the time. I mean, big league pitcher, minor league pitcher, college pitcher, you just never go through the season without your arm barking. And you have to recognize the difference between, you know, pain or just achiness. Pain at which obviously you have an injury you can't pitch through, versus achiness that is just some discomfort that you have to loosen up and work your way through it.
3 balls, 2 strikes to Straley, and he strikes out. That's 5 strikeouts for Cole. You know, nobody sees sports quite the way that Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock do. The brains to know, the guts to say. Catch Colin and Jason on FS1's new daily sports talk show, Speak for Yourself, weeknights at 6 o'clock Eastern. Guaranteed tomorrow night they'll be talking about the news today. Alex Rodriguez announcing that he will play his last game with the Yankees on August the 12th. And he'll retire and become an advisor to the Yankees. He'll get his full salary next year. They'll owe him about $26 million for next year. They'll also talk about Ken Griffey Jr. His number 24 retired yesterday. And I got to believe they'll talk about Brett Favre too. Brett up in Canton got the honor that every football player awaits in baseball. They await induction into Cooperstown. In football, it's an induction at Canton, Ohio. And once again, they did a tremendous job in Canton for the Hall of Fame ceremonies. Brett was the last to speak last night. 36 minutes, maybe one of the longest speeches at the Hall of Fame in Canton, and as you would expect, from the heart. He played the game with verve, with the love of the game. You had to love the way he played it.
Sure did.
2 balls, 1 strike to Billy. He's been instrumental in this game already. High fly ball to left. They should retire him this time. Marte has it, and the Reds go 1-2-3 for the second straight inning. They still lead 3-0. Straley, 4 innings, 12 up, 12 down, 8 fly balls, 2 ground balls, 2 strikeouts. Chris, those are pretty good numbers
for anybody at any time. Obviously, you can't get any better than what Straley has done today. He's just breezed through this Pirate order time and time again. Reds have given him a couple of runs with which to work in the first inning. They added 1 in the third, and right now it looks like a blowout the way he's pitching.
Here's Matt Joyce, popped the short first time up, followed by Gong and Jaso, 4, 5, and 6. This one hit deep to center. Back goes Hamilton. He won't bring this one back. That's to the back row of the bleachers in center field. That ends the hitless streak that gives Matt Joyce his 12th homer of the year and puts the Pirates on the board 3-1.
Well, we promise you folks, all you superstitious folks out there, that we won't show any more statistics of a guy throwing a perfect game after just 4 innings, because you can forget about the perfect game, the no-hitter, the shutout, but the Reds still have the lead 3-1.
Joyce delivers a bolt to center field. Now 38 runs batted in, and here's the third baseman who fly to center first time up.
You know, for Straley, though, it's almost so what? A solo home run in the middle of the game, as long as you come back and throw strikes, and he's down 2-0 to the next hitter, but as long as you come right back, that can be the biggest rally killer of all. I think any pitcher, if they know they're only going to give up 1 run in an inning, would much rather do it on 1 swing, solo blast, than be pitching out of a bases loaded situation where they finally squeeze a run in, but you're exhausted after the inning's over.
And we were talking about Tom Browning earlier. I'll never forget when Dave Miley was running the minor league operation for the Reds on the field at spring training back in the old days. There's a blooper into left. It'll drop for a hit. Schebler will haul it in. And nobody out, runner on first, 1 run in, and here comes Jaso. He asked Tom Browning to speak to his pitchers, to all the minor league pitchers, and Browning the night before, this is just after he retired, he said, I don't know what I'm going to say, And everybody sat around and said, just tell him how you pitched. And he got in there, and here are guys 6'6", 6'7", you know, and he looked around the room. There was about 30 guys in the room, and he pointed to him. He said, okay, let's go around the room and tell me how hard your fastball is. And this guy said 94, this guy said 95, this guy said 96, and he said, guys, I threw a perfect game throwing 86 miles an hour. And went into the litany of strike one, went into the litany of let the batters get themselves out. And you heard the soundbite from Dan Straley earlier, and Straley and especially Barnhart have really combined to read hitters' swings. Browning was great at that. So it's those intangibles, not the radar gun, that makes the difference.
Well, you know, George, today it would be harder to get signed throwing 86 miles an hour than it would be to throw a perfect game throwing 86 miles an hour.
You're right. And you mentioned, you know, the work that Straley's done in the offseason, and there are a lot of academies and there are a lot of organizations that try to beef up the radar numbers of young pitchers. I'm not against it. Here's Straley to the stretch. Fouled off by Jaso. I'm not against it for a veteran pitcher, but when you're 13, 14, and 15, you don't need to be trying to throw harder. I'm a great believer that one of the reasons there's so many injuries among young pitchers is because they're trying to throw too hard too soon.
I think a lot of people would agree with you, including me, except the problem is that colleges, D1 schools, will not sign you unless you're a hard thrower. If they have a choice between a guy that throws 90 and a kid that throws 80, they're going to pick the 90-mile-an-hour guy every time. So kids are forced to do things that they had never been forced to do before. You know, weighted ball programs, weightlifting programs, you know, all designed to make your velocity faster, but not necessarily making your pitching any better. And I think the showcases are the same problem, where showcase kids go out there and they just throw as hard as they can for a couple of innings, and they want to light up the radar gun and hope they can get a scholarship to college from that.
1 and 2 fouled off by Jaso.
So there's a lot of issues going on at the same time. But with that said, what do you hear about when somebody talks about maybe who the Reds might draft and they talk about pitchers? Well, the first thing that comes out of the scout's mouth is he throws 97, he throws 96. It's not that, boy, he can really hit the corners with his off-speed stuff. So it's been like that forever. It's just now it's much more quantified.
1-2 to Jaso, runner on first, and Straley will step off and get together with Cabrera, his catcher today.
I think he's just trying to figure out what pitch sequence do you want to go to right here, because Jaso's been, you know, one of these guys who's fouled off some pitches here. He's becoming pesky, and you want to say, all right, well, what do you feel is the right pitch to throw? He'd like to get a rare ground ball and turn a double play.
Kicks away from Cabrera. The runner will go to second. So double play possibility erased. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Got to get your body in front of that one.
Two balls, 2 strikes. The runner now out at second. And just missing, will go full 3 and 2. Rick Sofield, third base coach for the Pirates, checking the defense behind his runner at second. Swing and a miss. Good job. Again, talk about velocity at 82. Had him way out in front. Gets strikeout number 3.
Well, he had him way out in front because the previous pitch was a fastball at 91. So you throw the pitch to the same spot with the same arm action, and you take 9 miles an hour off of it, and you get the hitter way out in front. Reads it as a fastball, thinks he's going to wait long enough, but can't do it. Well, he has just been outstanding at adding and subtracting.
First out of the inning, and here's Mercer, who struck out first time up. Down the right field line, curving foul and into the seats. Just a picture-perfect day here in Pittsburgh. Final of the 3-game set, and the Reds and Pirates still have a lot of baseball left. They'll play each other 8 times in the final 2.5 weeks of the season. 4 games here in Pittsburgh and 4 games in Cincinnati. It was originally a 3-game series in Cincinnati, but it'll end up being a 4-game series with a day-night doubleheader on the Saturday. Reds will be back here on the 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th of September, and then the Pirates will be in Cincinnati on the 16th, 17th, and 18th. Tries to check it, can't do it, and Straley threads the needle for back-to-back strikeouts when he needs it. That's 4 strikeouts for Straley. That'll bring up the number 8 hitter, Eric Fryer. Fryer hit a line drive bolt over Billy Hamilton's head in center. Billy got turned around twice, somehow threw up the glove hand and snared the ball for a brilliant catch for the 2nd out of the 3rd inning. Last time the Reds saw Fryer, he was in a Cardinal uniform. When Brian Pena was on the disabled list, he made the Cardinal club. Then when Pena came off the DL, they designated him for assignment. Fly ball to right. Schebler going over. It'll be out of play. Not only a new team, but a new summer for Eric. He and his wife, proud parents of twins, so he's kind of happy to be on the road sometimes. You're getting some sleep, but he's looking forward to getting home this month.
And they're less than a month old, right?
Yep.
Fortunately for him, Pittsburgh is not all that far from his home city of Columbus.
Yep. Heading back to Columbus soon to be home. Congratulations to the Friars. That kicks away, runner going nowhere. Northern Ohio product, just like his former manager in St. Louis, Mike Matheny, from the same town. And a solid backstop. 1-2. Hanging in, fouling off that delivery, and the count stays 1-2.
A second time really through the Pittsburgh area for Eric Fryer. He was drafted originally by the Brewers, 10th round out of Ohio State in 2007. And then eventually traded to the Pirates, where he made his major league debut at age 25. Parts of a couple of seasons here in Pittsburgh.
Popped up and out of play. And he's taking the spot that Chris Stewart occupied. Stewart on the disabled list, so there may very well be another move for him before this year is over. Right field, Schebler going over. Can he get there? He does. He holds on. 2 steps from the foul line. Schebler hangs the leather on a line drive that prevents the 2nd run from scoring. Good catch by Schebler. Joyce's homer gives the Pirates their 1st run.
balls. But last night provided a couple of interesting ones. Francisco Lindor of the Indians. You don't see this often. Watch him foul it off. It goes off the catcher's mask, and then on the backswing, Lindor hits it again. That kooky game of baseball. Although Hunter Pence doesn't think this is kooky. Bam, fouled it right into his face. And you could actually see the stitches from the ball on his face. That happened early in the game, but in pure Hunter Pence style, he stayed in the game unscathed. Weird foul balls last night.
You know, JD, we're talking about Brett Favre. If you were to pick a player in baseball that represents what Brett Favre represented in football, it would be Hunter Pence, huh? What a gamer.
That's a pretty good analogy right there.
Did you ever get a chance to interview Brett?
I did indeed. Before I came back to Ohio, I worked in Tampa Bay and covered the Buccaneers very closely. And there was a pretty good rivalry back then between the Bucs and the Packers. And Favre and Warren Sapp would have it out all the time. And I have never heard a player, you hear the stories of Brett Favre talking on the field like he's just a normal guy. It's exactly what he was. He was constantly joking around on the sidelines to opposing players, referees, whoever was in his way. He was truly just one of those guys that, when he was on the field, was just like he was off the field.
What you see is what you get. In 20 years of football, Chris have played the game with excitement, with verve. Here's the 2-1 delivery. It was Zach Cozart, the Reds shortstop, to lead it off in the 6th.
That is in such an incredible long time to play that game.
Amen. Looped behind his second baseman, Harrison there. Got it. And Cozart's 0 for 3. Bounced out, flied out, and that popped to second. I covered Favre a number of times and been with him at banquets maybe a half a dozen times. And he's the same guy he was the first time you met him. Not, for a guy who has had you look at the numbers, they speak for themselves. Is he the greatest quarterback ever? I don't know about that, but he's got numbers that show that his statistics are as great as any quarterback that ever played the game.
Well, he made the guys around him better players, too.
Yeah.
That's what great quarterbacks do.
In his speech last night, he started to cry and said, let me tell you guys, this is tougher than any 3rd and 15 I ever had on the field. And those are the guys you love. The guys who play the game and honestly enjoy every day at the field. We're here in Pittsburgh. I'll never forget as Joey Votto steps to the plate. Votto walked, and his sacrifice fly brought in the Reds' 3rd run in the 3rd inning. Cole delivers. Never forget being at spring training in 1979 in Bradenton, Florida, with Willie Stargell and Bill Madlock sitting in the old clubhouse on a stool and just talking baseball. Here's the 2-1. That's a strike, 2-2. And somebody came by and said, time for BP. And Madlock gets up and says, come on, Pops, time to go to work. And Willie Stargell took his big meat hook hand and grabbed him by the shoulder and says, what do the umpires do when we start the game? What do they say? Down in the dirt to Votto, 3-2. He says, they say play ball. I said, that's what we do. We play ball. I said, you go out there and have fun. I don't want to ever hear you say we're going to work again. We're going to have fun. That was Pops. Immortalized with a giant statue out in front of the ballpark here, along with Clemente and Wagner. Some brilliant statues here, just like the Reds have in Cincinnati. And that was a guy who played the game with love and verve too. I mean, the Reds have had it. Pete Rose played it that way. I mean, the guys in the Big Red Machine, you walked into that clubhouse and it was electric. When it's all said and done, it's not how many hits or how many wins. It's what was the essence of who you were. Inside, ball 4. Votto walks for the 2nd time. And Favre had one of the lines he had last night was really great. And he spoke to players. He said, all you kids that are 13 and 14 out there, all I can tell you is never cheat yourself. You can't go back. You can't be 25 and say, I wish I had done this. Play with no regrets. Play as hard as you can. Have as much fun as you can. And then just keep going ahead. Keep going forward. There's Duvall. Bounced out. Got a run home in the 1st. Struck out 2nd time up. Work hard, have fun, and good things will happen. Works in every realm of life. One out, one on for the Reds. Loop to the right side and out of play. On the scoreboard in the National League, Atlanta leads the Cardinals 3-0. San Francisco and Washington are scoreless underway in the 5th inning. Now, Chris, the Reds have started the second half in great fashion. You know, having won every series until this series when they'd lost the first 2 to Pittsburgh. That's the good news. And as they try to make ground on Milwaukee, the Brewers haven't made it easy, because the Brewers have had almost an identical record as the Reds have had. Played better since the All-Star break, so the Reds haven't made up any ground on the Brewers to try to overtake them.
Well, and they're also really paralleling the Brewers in the rebuilding process.
That's a strike, says the home plate umpire, Manny Gonzalez.
It's always kind of interesting, really, when you have other teams, especially teams you play a lot, like the Brewers, who are in a rebuilding process, to gauge, you know, the progress of the Reds versus the progress of the Brewers, and vice versa, at, you know, different points along the way. And it'll be a pretty good chance to take a look at both those teams this week, as the Reds will head in there and play a next weekend series starting on Friday in Milwaukee.
If you're on this club and you're heading into the final 2 months of the season, the one thing you can point at, yes, you want to get better every day, but you're saying if we can overtake the Brewers, we've accomplished something in the second half. I would think that would be an important goal. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Down to short. Mercer to Harrison, on to first, not in time. The 2 away, Votto a race, and that'll bring up Brandon. Phillips singled in the first, knocked in the Reds' second run, scored Votto on a base hit to center, then he lined to right in the 4th. 5 hits in the series and 8 at bats for Brandon, including his first 2 home runs after 72 games without a homer. Cole calling Fryer out, had to call him out twice. Action in the Pirate bullpen for the first time as Cole hits the 94 pitch mark here in inning number 6. Garrett probably had his best start of the season last time out. He had a 5-4 first half of the year, and in the second half, since the All-Star break, 2-2. That was including a stint on the DL from the second week of June to the second week of July.
Yeah, and the DL stint was something that there was, you know, potentially something serious. When you're talking about your arm and your triceps, that was, I'm sure, very concerning to the Pittsburgh Pirates. He went on the DL June 11th, came off July the 16th, but between the 16th and now, he's pitched his first and only major league complete game when he beat the Seattle Mariners 10-1.
Dribble down to third, that'll go foul.
He's just one of these very high energy effort pitchers, though. I mean, everything is Powder River. It always has been for Garrett Cole. Last year he turned in one of the best first halves ever when he went off and went 13-3 with a very low earned run average, and then finished up the season 6-5. Earned run average was still under 3, but the wins weren't there. The deep end of the game, carrying the ball club on your shoulder games weren't there for Cole. But it's amazing how much you expect out of a young man like Cole, just 25, just because he had one really great year like he did last year. Or one really great half of the year, really, if you want to break it down like that.
And that first half vaulted him into the All-Star game. And after the All-Star game, when we played him, I mean, he had pitched a clean inning and struck out Mike Trout, and that he still said, well, a year? You telling me I went to the All-Star game and I got to strike out Mike Trout? That's big. Cole to the stretch. Duvall off first. Pretty good pitch spoiled by Phillips. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
I can tell you that the Pirates are very happy what they saw from Ivan Nova last night. They just think that maybe a change of scenery will really help them and solidify their rotation a little bit.
This rotation's been jumbled. So is the bullpen. I mean, up in the bullpen right now, Antonio Bastardo, the left-hander, Jared Hughes, the right-hander. Added to the bullpen today, former Red Curtis Parch. Just called up from Indianapolis. Oh, they've got Duvall picked. Can they get him? No. Duvall did a pick your pocket delayed surprise attack, and waiting was Harrison. And after pumping to first, by the time Fryer went to second, too late to get him, and it's a stolen base for Duvall.
Well, a classic delayed steal right there. 3 hops. Once you get your secondary lead, you take 3 hops off the bag, and you really steal the base on the infielders, not on the catcher. The catcher was going to come up throwing anyway, but he had nobody to throw to as Harrison was late getting there.
So runner in scoring position now with 2 away for Phillips. This one bloop behind second. It will drop for a hit. Here comes a run. Well, whether it's the stolen base that gets you to second or the bloop hit, either way, the Reds get something big out of this. A walk, a stolen base, and a bloop hit by Brandon, his 6th hit of the series. Another run batted in, and the Reds now lead it 4-1.
Well, what a pitcher's pitch right there. Brandon picked that ball right off the dirt. Serves it up there with a little sand wedge, it looks like, and it's going to fall right in there beyond the grasp of the right fielder, Matt Joyce.
That will be the final pitch for Cole on this day. He'll exit with 2 outs in the 6th. Trailing 4-1 with the runner on base his responsibility while the pitching change takes place. Time for our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. One of 3 left-handers in this bullpen, Chris.
He's 30 years old, Bastardo is. Left-hander that has just recently joined the Pittsburgh Pirates. He's only been in a couple of games with them, so this is game number 3 after coming over here from the New York Mets.
Well, Bastardo from the stretch with Phillips down on first. At the plate for the Reds, Scott Schebler. Schebler struck out twice against Cole.
Well, that's really close to a balk right there.
Bastardo picked up from the Mets in exchange for former Mets pitcher Jonathan Neese. He was with the Pirates last year before signing with the Mets this year. So the lefty peering in for a sign from Fryer, trying to get Schebler here with 2 away. Well, after we left you yesterday, the Pirates did announce after the game one move, one of Chris's favorite names of the year, Archimedes Caminero.
Hard thrower.
Hard throwing right-hander was traded from the Pirates to Seattle for 2 players to be named later. So that brought Curtis Parch up today from Indianapolis, the former Reds pitcher. And also, with everything that's going on, it's moved Jeff Locke to the bullpen. In the ever-evolving starting rotation and bullpen of this Pirates team.
One thing about the Pirates, they're not afraid to make some moves. I mean, they will trade people that they need seemingly right in the middle of the year, like they did Mark Melancon. Always trying to, retool rather than rebuild. May not get them anywhere this year, but they certainly have a tendency to look to the future.
There was very little probability they would re-sign Melancon, who will be a free agent, and a qualifying offer would be over $16 million. They weren't going to spend that on Melancon, so they got what they could get at this stage from the Washington Nationals. Hit pretty good down the right field line, but it takes a right-hand turn into foul territory and into the seats. Well, they've turned the closing role over to Tony Watson, who's been one of the most reliable relievers in the league for the last few years. And they've added some hard throwing arms to the bullpen too, as they look at the final 7 weeks of this year and next year too. 1 ball, 2 strikes, a little bigger lead from Phillips. This is the alignment that John Jaso was talking about the other day. They did it for the first time on Billy Hamilton. Jaso said he's never felt more uncomfortable at first than in this kind of an alignment.
With him off the bag a little bit.
Yep. Swing and a miss, and Schebler's retired for the 3rd time via the strikeout route. Reds lead at 4-1. Time for our Honda game summary. It's been a Billy Hamilton show. Not one, not two, but 3 stolen bases for Hamilton so far. And he picked the pocket of the Pirates by rifling home. And oh, how about the defense? A juggling, tumbling catch from the Red center fielder. He's been brilliant. So is Dan Straley. Straley, 4 innings of perfect baseball. He's allowed only 2 hits and 4 strikeouts. And he's got a 4-1 lead as we go to the bottom of 6. Adam Frazier will pinch hit in the pitcher's spot. And then Harrison and Marte will follow. Straley had 12 up, 12 down through the first 3. Had a 1-2-3 4th. And then in the 5th, leadoff hitter Matt Joyce homered for the Pirates' lone run. He's given up only 2 hits and been blessed with some fine defense. That jumbling, tumbling, bumbling catch by Billy Hamilton, and another fine catch in right by Schebler. Here's Frazier, left-handed swinging infielder and outfielder, guy who figures to be on this roster next year from the get-go. Solid defensive player. Came out of the Atlanta area. Overall for Frazier, he's gone 13 for 38, 342 in 9 starts since coming up with the big club. Pop foul to the left start. He has started games at second base and right field and also in left field. Good athlete, solid athlete, outstanding high school athlete.
Came up through the Pirates organization, 6th round pick 2013 out of Mississippi State. Just 24 years old now, and a very impressive minor league resume as far as base hits. Nearly got one there.
Sliced to short. Cozart has it, 1 away. And here comes Josh Harrison, 0 for 2 today. You know, Chris, as you look at this Pirate team, not just on the field but in the clubhouse, Harrison's role becomes more and more critical. He's always been a high energy player, whether it was in high school or at the University of Cincinnati. Every place he's been, you talk about Brett Favre making people better around him. That's what Josh has always done. And with one impact player after another, meaning leaders, leaving the clubhouse, his role gets to be even more important. He's a high energy player.
He's going to be so happy when his Cincinnati fans tell him that you used his name and Brett Favre's in the same sentence. The day after Brett Favre was inducted into the Football Hall of Fame.
Hey, there is a similarity. He plays the game like he loves it. So did Brett. I mean, wherever he's been. This one ripped to left, going back towards the corner. It's going to be gone. Well, Josh Harrison delivers his 4th home run. He burns the Reds again, and it's a 4-2 ball game. Boy, it would be nice to see him in a Reds uniform.
It's one thing Brett Favre has never done.
No.
Boy, those extra runs the Reds have been able to get to add on to the 2 that they had to start the ball game. You know, they're beginning to look bigger and bigger because this Pirate team is not going away. Harrison dropped the hammer on that and launched it.
Second home run against Straley in his career. He had one earlier this year, so he's now 3 for 10 against Straley with the 2 homers.
And the good news, though, I mean, if you give up 2 home runs and there's nobody on base, it's no big deal. You just come right back and go after the next hitter. The problem last time he gave up a home run, the next hitter got a base hit, got behind an account to him. But Straley has not worked himself into his own bad situations today. No walks, no hit batters.
One ball, 2 strikes to Marte. This one blooped to the right side. Phillips over. Got it. Brandon robs Marte of a hit, and there's your second out of the inning.
Reds have made some really good defensive plays. Billy Hamilton, Scott Schebler, now Brandon Phillips on a blue pit.
That'll bring up McCutchen. Andrew today 0 for 2. The pop up by Marte leaves him 0 for 3. Fly ball to right, fly ball to left, and that pop up. McCutchen today bounced to short and then struck out. Slice foul to the right side. Tomorrow, Chris, you head to St. Louis. Cody Reed will get the ball, looking for his first win. 0-6, an ERA of over 7. Have you seen his development?
Well, he's got a ways to go, obviously, but I really believe Cody Reed's got a tremendously high ceiling, and I love the fact that the Reds are going to continue to give him the baseball, let him pitch here in the major leagues. So that's where he's got to learn. But I think for him it would be as simple as taking a little bit, make these a step back effort-wise, and instead of trying to throw the ball 94 just because you can, throw it at 91. Watch Dan Straley pitch a little bit.
Hit hard down to short. Cozart. McCutchen's retired. A homer by Harrison. The Reds lead down to 2. Straley due up third when we go to the 7th. $12. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com. Here we go to the 7th inning. 7, 8, and 9 due up for Cincinnati. Action in the Reds bullpen, so Straley's day may be done. Raisel Iglesias has started to loosen. Here's the big right-hander Jared Hughes coming in for the Buccos, Chris.
He's been a Pittsburgh Pirates his entire career since the time that he was drafted. Jared Hughes, a big guy, 6 feet 7 inches, 245 pounds. He has been always a reliever for this ball club. He's now 30, broke in when he was 25.
There's Suarez. A Eugenio today popped up to the first baseman first time up, struck out looking against Cole in the 4th. For Garrett Cole, 5 2/3 innings. The final numbers for him. He winds up giving up 4 runs on 3 hits, 5 strikeouts, and yes, those walks do haunt. 3 walks, all 3 of the free passes scored against Cole. So he paid the price. He walked Hamilton, he scored in the 1st, walked Votto in the 1st, he scored, and walked Votto in the 6th, and he scored. By the way, the bottom line of what we had from that first inning situation where Brandon Phillips got the base hit and it looked like there was going to be a challenge at the plate. They finally explained to us that no challenge ever took place because the umpires went back to make contact with New York and review the play. There's a line drive off the bat of Suarez into center. That's a base hit for Eugenio. And they were never able to make contact, so there was no confirmation from the people in New York. It was ruled by the umpires that he was safe at the plate.
Well, really what they should have done was just leave a message. and they could answer the message tomorrow because this umpiring crew is going to New York to work in the review room.
That's it.
So they could answer their own message tomorrow. Modern technology allows you to do that now.
That's it.
And coincidental scheduling.
So leadoff hitter on for the Reds in the 7th. Well, with the review office in New York, it started off where they would bring a crew to New York for 1 week, and now under the new configuration after the new umpire's contract was signed, they spend 2 weeks in New York now. And the other part of that story is they get better per diem since when they go to New York, so you can bring the families in there too.
Or for some people 2 weeks in New York,
that's trouble.
It may seem like a year. For others it may go by like a weekend.
No balls, 1 strike to Cabrera, who bounced out twice. Tony Arenda's moved into the on-deck circle with the pitcher spot. Dan Straley due up next. That's slap foul to the left side. No balls, 2 strikes. Raisel Iglesias loosening in the bullpen under the tutelage of Teddy Power, who's taken over in the bullpen once Mac Jenkins became the pitching coach for the Reds. Great addition to have Teddy back at the major league level, Chris. We've known him for a long time. Solid major league pitcher, and boy, has he done great work in the minor leagues for the Reds over the years.
You know, I loved his response when he was originally asked why he was a good choice to come up here and how he can really help this pitching staff.
Hughes to the stretch.
And what he responded was, I have a son the same age as these guys.
Yeah.
So I know how to deal with somebody that age. And I think that's way more important than the X's and O's and the mechanics and how you're holding the curveball and things like that. Yeah, you need to have a knowledge of mechanics, and Teddy Power and Mac Jenkins have great knowledge of that. But I think it's also how you deal with people, which, you know, makes you a better coach.
And he's seen all these young pitchers come through there too. Hey, he was so good they needed 3 guys to replace him down in Louisville. Jeff Fassero, Tony Fasas, and Mario Soto all alternating.
So he wants to know why he wasn't getting paid 3 times as much.
And those are 3 great guys to have coming in. All those Louisville pitchers will benefit from those 3 guys. By the way, for Teddy, it's a great return home. His wife Leslie's from Pittsburgh, so you know, you talk about young rookies making the trek around baseball. Since he came back, he's seeing all new ballparks. Look out. Did that get him?
Well, either way, we got a runner at second base.
Going to second will be Suarez. Looked like it might have hit him in the leg, but as it turned out, it hit Fryer. And slow to get up is Ramon. I never did hit him.
He wasn't sure how he got out of the way of that pitch.
Well, the runner Suarez goes to second. Now full count, 3-2 to the Reds catcher Ramon Cabrera with Brenda on deck. Pitch allows the runner to go to second. So another insurance run out there for the Reds in a 2-run ball game. High in the air to right center field. Suarez is tagging. McCutchen under it. Here comes Suarez. He's coming all the way. Here comes the throw. He's going to be safe. Good throw by McCutchen, right on the money. Good base running by the Reds to get the runner to third.
I always think it's worth a shot for a runner to take it a chance on this when you have the same angle, which is if you have a fielder field that ball in right center field, right field, or even a little bit towards, even more towards center, and you think that that ball, when it comes into the third baseman, is going to get tangled up with you as the runner, that gives you an advantage. That ball nearly hit Suarez. And it's just a very difficult play for the third baseman and the outfielder to make. So always give it a shot when that ball is in that direction.
So 1 out. Here's Rendu, his first major league appearance. A sacrifice that he beat the first base. At first it was not scored a base hit. The ruling changed on Friday finally after a review, and he was credited with his first major league hit. So Tony, who hit over 300 when you combine his efforts at Pensacola AA and Louisville AAA, digging in here with the infield in and 1 away, runner at third. Well, it's nice to see a young player come up. Asked in his first at bat to get a bunt down, and he got a great bunt down.
He did. Actually turned into his first major league hit when all the dust settled.
And boy, did he hustle down the line.
Well, that's part of his game. When he was drafted, I mean, he's not a big guy, and he's been compared to Dustin Pedroia. A little fireball of a player that has some power, but mostly speed.
Played second, third, and the outfield. Mostly in the outfield at both AA and AAA. Guy that you would pencil in as an ideal utility player. Runs well, handles himself well defensively. 2-1. That's a base hit. That'll get a run in. Tony Rendu delivers it again. So it took him a while to get verified as his first hit. There's his first run batted in, and when they signed this ball, they kept the ball for his first at bat. So he's got his first at bat and first hit. And now he's got his first run batted in. In addition to that, he gives the Reds once again a 3-run lead, 5-2.
It's a nice stroke right there. Boy, he hits it right out of the catcher's glove. Let's see if they let him run here.
Hughes to the stretch. Here's Billy at the plate. Pitch out. That's what the Pirates are thinking right along with you, Chris.
Hughes is a big, tall guy. We already said he's 6 feet 7 inches tall, and he's very deliberate to the plate. He does not have quick feet or a quick move to first base either. I got to figure that once Rendu sizes his move up, he'll be going.
Billy showing bunt, offers at it for a strike. 1-1. What a day for Billy. Walked in the first on a 3-2 pitch. Eventually scored on a ground ball out by Duvall. 3 stolen bases on the day. Now 42 on the season. Third straight year with 40 or more stolen bases. Rendu not going. Pitch wide. And for Billy, his contributions in the field also major. A diving, stumbling catch in center field to prevent at least a double or maybe more on Fryer's line drive. Rendu off the bag at first, not going. Fouled at the plate. 2-2. He's going this time. That slap to the left side, rounding second, going to third will be Renda. They'll hold him there. Billy takes a big turn at first, and it's first and third. So it's a little bit of little ball with the bottom of the order and the top of the order. Renda base hit scores a run, and then hitting and running, Hamilton plunks one into left, and it's first and third. Look at this motor.
Renda really can run. It's interesting, if the Reds are trying to get more athletic with some of the acquisitions they've been able to get. You know, we know that Peraza can really run, even though they sent him down the minor leagues. Renda's a speedy player. Obviously, Billy Hamilton is the speediest of all. But interesting, the move to try to become a little more athletic. I really like it.
Well, that'll be it for Hughes. While the pitching change takes place, he'll take time out for these messages. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. Scored a run. The Reds lead at 5-2. He scampers to third. And for those of you that aren't that familiar with Tony, acquired from the Yankees in the Aroldis Chapman trade, Chris, his resume pretty impressive. You indicated he reminds you a little bit of Dustin Pedroia, and his bloodline similar to that too. 2010 Pac-10 Player of the Year as a sophomore at Cal. College World Series appearance that year. Second round pick of the Nationals. And plays with energy. So first and third for the Reds. Billy Hamilton already 3 stolen bases. He faces a former Cincinnati Red, Curtis Parch, who just rejoined the club for the second time this year. Parch called up after Archimedes Caminero was traded yesterday. So Parch up from Indianapolis. And he's got first and third with great speed on the bases for the Reds. Billy walked in the first, stole second, stole third. 3 stolen bases on the day, 42 on the season.
Well, that way they're playing him down there allows him such a huge lead. I can see them doing that at first base when you have a left-handed pitcher, because the left-handed pitcher can lift his leg up. The first baseman could make a move back to first, and you could always get that runner going the wrong way. But the lead that Hamilton has here, I mean, how do you ever expect to throw him out? Billy's going to have to come back to first as that ball was fouled off.
He wasn't sure what happened or where the ball was. Finally, he didn't want to leave the bag until Freddie Benavides confirmed to him, come on back. No balls, 1 strike to Zach Cozart. 14-game hitting streak on the line for Cozart. He's 0 for 3. Ground out, strikeout, pop up. Billy was somewhat baffled by this alignment with Jaso off the bag on Friday night when he faced it the first time. In fact, Jaso said he was a little confused too because they had talked about it but never tried it. He said, we realize you're not going to pick them off, but if we can take a step from them, we think we've done it. I think they're giving a step away. That's inside, no throw, and make it 4 stolen bases on the day for Billy Hamilton. Now 43 on the season.
Yeah, I think that little experiment needs a little more lab work.
Yeah. Against mortals, it might work. Against Billy, it gives him an extra step. And Fryer had no chance, no coverage of the bag, so they'll bring the infield in with second and third now for Cozart. Down to third, and it's going to go through in the left. 1 run will score. The Reds add on, lead it 6-2. And as brilliant as the play was by the Pirate third baseman last night to rob the Reds of 2 runs, this one should have been caught. Probably go as a hit, but should have been at least knocked down.
He was in so close. The ball was hit very hard. You throw your glove down. You hope the ball finds it.
So the Reds pick up another run, lead at 6-2. A run batted in for Cozart, and now Zach has a 15-game hitting streak thanks to that bullet past the third baseman.
A couple of hits away from sending most of this crowd home,
or at least to the regatta and the food court next to the ballpark. Now they're going to give the third baseman Kung an error.
Well, that's a rough error.
Wow. I don't think he ever touched the ball
or saw it.
Let the Reds get a run. That's the important number, and lead at 6-2. Here's Joey with first and third. Votto today has walked twice, and his sacrifice fly to left plated Hamilton after he doubled and stole third. Billy's done it before, but the first time this year he's had 4 stolen bases in a game. Yeah, the one thing we remember when Billy first came up, Chris, and Dusty used him in September really just as a stolen base threat. If you do have more speed, whether it's Peraza or Arenda on your bench, and you get late in a game, just to have that possibility, not just somebody who can get the bat on the ball, but somebody who can steal a base in a key situation, that's a great asset for a manager. It was automatic when Billy came up that September, wasn't it?
And exciting.
2 balls, 1 strike. That'll get away. Here comes Hamilton. Forget it. No chance. All the way to the backstop. Going to second will be Cozart. The Reds get another run and now lead it 7-2. Well, a wild pitch by Hughes set this inning up, and another ball that gets past the catcher Fryer will allow another run to score, and the Reds lead it 7-2. That's another wild pitch. And Cozart out at second. Still only 1 out in the inning. And Votto walks for the 3rd time. Going into play today, Joey trailed Bryce Harper by 3 free passes for the league lead in walks. Depending on what Harper does today for the Washington Nationals, he could have tied him with the 3 walks. The pregame report was that Bryce probably would not play today at a stiff neck. But not sure yet till we check in on that game. The one thing we do know, Chris, the word just came in from Baltimore. Manny Machado 3 home runs today, and the Orioles are leading the White Sox 10-1.
And he was due to lead off an inning or so ago. Did he get his 4th home run?
Not yet. Now, he might be my #1 draft pick. You know, Mike Trout or him, you can't lose with either one of them. First and second for the Reds. Here's Duvall. Bounced out, struck out, bounced out. Off the plate, a high hopper to short. Mercer over to second, on to first. And the 116th double play of the season for the Buccos, but not before the Reds do some business. They lead it 7-2 after 6.5. We'll keep it right here to honor America from PNC Park.
Now here to lead us with God Bless America are members of the Punxsutawney Area High School Choir.
Jimmy Hanlon gives terrific tips, plus recaps the weekly PGA tournament. Get inside the golf zone with Jimmy Hanlon, presented by American Eagle Mortgage and Varmint Guard tonight at 8. on Fox Sports. I'm Jim Day. Raisel Iglesias into the game for Cincinnati. Still adapting to American culture. Let's get to know him a little bit. Every day in the offseason, Raisel loves to fish. We're talking deep sea fishing too, the real stuff. He owns 2 German Shepherds, and when he was in Cuba, owned more than 50 pigeons. During the season, you can see him carrying around a portable game system. He loves to play video games, and when he's not staring at the tube looking at a video game, his favorite TV shows, just like Chris Welsh, soap operas.
And oh, by the way, he could pitch pretty good too. For Raisel Iglesias, 22 2/3 innings of scoreless baseball, Chris. Doesn't come much better than what he's done.
Well, I mean, he's essentially Brian Price's secret weapon. He has given up 1 run since he's come back off that injury when he was activated in June. And we're talking over a span of 13 games, and most of those games he's pitched at least 2 innings in. So you talk about a guy that is almost a guaranteed goose eggs on the board when you put him in there. That's what Brian Price is looking for right here with a 5-run lead.
2 balls, 1 strike. That's wide. By the way, the official scorer just announcing to give Zach Cozart a base hit on that ball into left. So scratch off the error. Base hit for Cozart, gets a run batted in too. So for Zach, that does stretch his hitting streak to 15 straight. Well done by the scorer to right or wrong.
Glad he tunes in to Fox Sports Ohio.
When you speak, people listen. That's a bouncer to the right side and foul. Full count, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Iglesias digs in against Joyce. That's down and in for a ball. So a leadoff walk here in the 7th inning. Dan Straley today was brilliant, Chris. He came in and did just what you would hope that he would do. 4 straight innings of hitless baseball. Gave up a home run to Joyce in the 5th inning. Josh Harrison homered in the 6th. But for Dan Straley, a great start. Another quality start for Straley. That's his 7th straight quality start, 14th quality start of the season, and he's given the Reds a lead.
You know, every team is looking for a guy like Dan Straley. Whether you pencil him in number 5 starter really doesn't matter, but the back end of the rotation is always a revolving door for almost every team out there. The guy comes in, he can't pitch, you bring up somebody from AAA, he doesn't get it, you bring in somebody else in, and pretty soon you're using, 4 or 5 pitchers out of that number 5 spot in the rotation. You can get a guy like Straley who will give you, seemingly every start that he's going to be able to give or take, 30, 32 starts, and give you a 500 baseball. He's pitching much better than that now. Well, you're going to be way ahead of the game compared to other teams.
Iglesias behind 2-0 here with the walk at first. Swing and a miss and fouled off. Jaso on deck for the Pirates. 7 runs, 6 hits, no errors for the Reds. 3 left. 2 runs, only 3 hits. An error and 1 left for the Pirates. Cincinnati with a 7-2 lead. That misses. And it's 3-1.
I can't say rusty because it's only been a few days since he pitched, but he just does not look like he has in the last few outings where he has just simply been dominant.
Uncharacteristically, he walks the first 2 he faces here in the 7th.
Now, 2 things happen here. Number 1, you make it an interesting ball game if you start walking back guys, and then number 2, you're thinking about tomorrow and the next day. You'd like to have Raisel Iglesias available for the first couple of days of that Cardinals series, but if he, throws too many pitches here, you're going to have to give him some time off.
And Iglesias has been not a 1-inning guy. He's been a 2-inning guy very often, 7 and 8, not just 1. And he's been judicious with his pitch count. Right now he's digging himself a hole. 12 pitches to 2 batters. Here's Jaso. That's up high for a ball. Behind on the 3rd straight batter. Jaso lined out, struck out 0 for 2. And Mac Jenkins going to come out and slow things down a bit. Very pleasant day here in Pittsburgh. Another great crowd, 32,947. They had 28,000 game 1, 34,000 last night, 32,000 here today on a very festive weekend. It's the Three Rivers Regatta weekend, so there are boats, there are a food court, a whole lot going on in downtown Pittsburgh, and the Reds are trying to close out this visit with a W. They lead it here in the 7th, 7-2. Iglesias from the stretch. That's a strike. Down and in, 2-1. Right now, no one tossing in the Reds bullpen. They've gotten action up again in the Pirate bullpen as we're down to the 6th spot in the order.
It's kind of uncharted territory for the Reds and Brian Price if Iglesias starts giving it up, because they really have nobody in that bullpen that is better than Raisel Iglesias. But if you can't find the strike zone, you got to do something. And now they're beginning to do some Pilates down there. Not throwing yet, but just getting loose.
Teeing off on the 3-1, swing and a miss by Jaso. Full count, 3-2. Middle of the Reds infield, double play depth. They love a ground ball, turn 2 here. Wide ball 4. He's walked the bases loaded to start the 7th. For a guy who's thrown nothing but strikes since being activated off the DL, he is struggling here in the 7th inning in his first appearance of the series. That'll bring up Mercer. Mercer struck out twice against Straley. And Brandon Phillips is going to take a long walk in to try to settle down this young right-hander. The Reds will stay at double play depth. No one out in the 7th. Bases loaded on 3 free passes. And Mercer to the plate. Bouncer down to short. They'll get the out at 3rd. That's all. Good decision by Cozart. He probably wouldn't have had the out at 2nd. He gets 1 out. 1 run scores, so it's 7-3. It's 6-5, the fielder's choice, and the Reds lead down to 4, 7-3. One more ground ball and they can get out of this jam. First time in 22 plus innings that Iglesias has given up a run, and he can check the walk figure on why. 3 walks in the inning. Here's Polanco, who's been out of the lineup with a strained left shoulder. Unable to play the outfield, but available to pinch hit. He's got home run power, and he'll hit here in the 8th spot in the order. Polanco, one of the few bright spots on the most recent road trip. He had to sit out the last couple of games with the strained shoulder. But prior to that, homered in 3 of his last 7 games and hit around 300 during that period. Iglesias trying to nudge this predominantly fly ball hitter into a ground ball. First and second, 1 away. Reds double play depth. Big swing, fouled off, 1-1. First time since he's been up, Chris, that you look at Rysell, he doesn't appear to be comfortable on the mound, doesn't appear to have that usual energy.
Well, I think he's overthrowing, and you see him really speed up his body, his front side flying open.
1 ball, 1 strike. Up down the left field line and out of play. 1-2.
What has made him so good, though, since coming back and returning to the bullpen, is that his ability to throw all of his pitches for strikes. And on a scouting scale, every one of his pitches is a plus pitch, meaning it's better than major league average. Fastball, curve, changeup. And the changeup has been a very good weapon for him against left-handers. I wonder if he's going to drop one down on Polanco right here.
1 ball, 2 strikes. 1 out here in the 7th. Center field. Hamilton there, runner tagging at second, going nowhere. Billy's throw right on the money, right to the bag at third. Second out of the inning. So Polanco retired, and now with the 9th spot in the order coming up, Francisco Cervelli getting the day off today as the catcher will pinch hit. Still available on the bench for Clint Hurdle, David Freese, given the day off today after straining his left elbow yesterday, and Sean Rodriguez, 2 right-handed swingers. Polanco was the last left-handed pinch hitter left for Hurdle. Iglesias peers in for his sign from Cabrera. Jaso off the bag at second. Mercer off the bag at first. There's strike 1. Locked him up with that one. Lined in the left, a base hit. They'll hold a runner at third. Duvall's throw to the plate, and Sofield held him almost immediately as Duvall charged, and that'll prevent the run from scoring, but the bases are loaded again as Cervelli delivers a pinch hit, and the top of the order Harrison due up.
Now the ball hit very hard, and right now when you're down still multiple runs, why make an out at home? Going to take more of a sustained rally, but the discomforting thing for the Reds is that now the Pirates are at the top of the order and their best hitters are due up.
So it's Harrison who homered his last time up. Josh, first hit of the day, 1 for 3, his 4th homer of the season. Bases loaded for the 2nd time in the inning. And now at the 26 pitch mark, as we talked about earlier, Chris, usually Iglesias comes in for 2 innings. Big swing on the fastball, strike 1 at 96. You're almost guaranteed that he's going to, if he gets through this one unscathed here, can get Harrison. He's still probably only going to pitch 1 inning. Not the usual 2 that you get from him.
I think that Brian Price will cross that when he comes to it.
Right now, he'd just love to get out of this inning where it is. Strike 1 to Harrison. Holding the glove there as Cabrera doesn't get the call. 1 ball, 1 strike.
He's throwing plenty hard. I mean, his fastball 96, 97, which is far faster than we ever saw when he was pitching as a starter.
Wicked movement on that, but inside. 2 balls and 1 strike. Jaso walked. Mercer reached on the fielder's choice, and Cervelli singled. That breaking ball drops in there for a strike, and it's 2-2. He's got the full package, doesn't he? Man, just trying to get himself together on this day. 2-2. 7th batter of the 7th inning. Iglesias to the stretch. This one looped down the left field line. Long run. It's curving. It'll be foul ball. Wow. Man, only by a foot or 2. It was a one-handed swing. That was a Todd Frazier special. Off balance, one-handed, and within inches of turning this ball game around.
Breaking ball that he was fooled on, but he threw the barrel on the ball.
Good job by Josh Harrison just to get the bat on the ball. So we'll try it again. 2-2 with the bases still loaded and 2 outs here in the 7th. Iglesias peering in for his sign. All 3 leave their bags. Swing and a miss, and he got him. Wasn't an easy inning, but Raisel Iglesias somehow finds a way to get out of the inning. He gives up a run, but the Reds hold on to a 7-3 lead. Game when you fill us in on the highs and the lows of this afternoon and look ahead to the Cardinal series. And speaking of the last couple of days, talking about the highs, here comes Brandon Phillips to lead it off as we go to the top of the 8th. Brandon, 6 hits in the series, 2 homers yesterday, a couple of run scoring singles today. He's helped rejuvenate the Reds offense today for Cincinnati. 7 runs on 6 hits. They've left 3. As Jeff Piecoro just mentioned, Dan Straley was great. The Reds right-hander goes 6 innings, 3 hits, and 2 runs allowed on 2 solo home runs. Here's Juan Nicasio, who takes over on the mound for the Pirates. Garrett Cole started 5 2/3, 3 hits, 4 runs, walked 3, all 3 of them scored. Bastardo a third of an inning, Hughes a third of an inning and 3 runs, Parch 2/3 of an inning, and here's Nicasio. Phillips, line drive, right center, sinking, and it is caught but dropped by McCutchen. Almost a great play by McCutchen, but another great swing by Phillips. He goes to right for his 3rd line drive of the afternoon, Chris, and he's 3 for 4.
Now, one of the bloops fell in there, so otherwise he would have probably had a perfect day if he could hit the ball just beyond the glove of McCutchen here.
Great effort by the Gold Glover in center field.
That's good camera work. I thought that I didn't know he had that much control of it when I saw it live action. Brandon's going to hate leaving Pittsburgh.
Here's Zach Cozart. Stretched his hitting streak to 15 with a reviewed shot to third. This one will get away from Jay, so he may wind up on third. Here comes Phillips around second. He's heading for third. Here comes the throw. It'll be in time, and they'll slap the tag on him.
Well, a terrible pickoff throw is what started this whole play. Nicasio throws it right by the first baseman, and then the Reds catch a bad break. It goes down the right field line and hits something that comes right back out there to Josh Harrison, who's got a strong arm, and throws a one-hop seed right there on the money.
What a great play by Harrison. Picks it off the warning track and threw a strike to third. And the tag slapped on Phillips. So instead of no outs and a run around and a rally underway, there's 1 out. And here's Schebler. Schebler struck out twice against Cole, and then when they brought in the lefty specialist Bastardo in, he struck out against him. So he's 0 for 3 with 3 punch-outs today. Way high, 1-1. Pirates overshift to the right side with Mercer to the second base side of the bag. Big hole on the left side for Schebler. That's up high off Nicasio. Count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes. And for the 4th time today, Schebler's punched out, this time swinging. And there's your 2nd out of the inning. Strikeout number 1 for Nicasio here in the 8th inning. And that'll bring up the Reds' 3rd baseman, Eugenio Suarez. Hey, Reds fans, don't forget you can enjoy a fun day at the ballpark on Saturday, September 3rd with a special post-game concert featuring country music artist Chase Rice. Get an up-close view of one of country music's rising stars and a special on-field press pass. For as low as $32, you get a ticket to the game, a Reds trucker hat, and the opportunity to enjoy a concert from the field. Purchase today at reds.com/Chase Rice. High fly ball hit the center. Back at the edge of the warning track is McCutchen. He'll haul it in. And even with the base hit, the Reds go 1-2-3 in the 8th. The bottom of 8 we go. Marte to lead it off. Ready for Reds action 30 minutes before all the Cardinal games in every game on Fox Sports Ohio with Reds Live presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. Tomorrow, Reds Live, mark it on your calendar, starts at 7:30. Cody Reed and the Reds are in St. Louis. Reed looking for win number 1 against Michael Wacha. Catch all the action right here on Fox Sports Ohio or stream it live on Fox Sports Go. Start of play today. Cardinals 10.5 back of the Cubs. And in the wild card hunt, tied with Los Angeles, Miami for a wild card spot. The Pirates 2 games back in the wild card hunt, tied with the New York Mets. Colorado 3 back in the wild card chase in the National League. There's Michael Lorenzen who'll come in to take over. And by the way, we continue to update the saga surrounding Zach Cozart's ground ball into 7th. First scored an error, then scored a hit with her RBI, and now they're saying that it is an error stands, but they're giving Cozart an RBI, so they're saying that he didn't get a hit. It's an error on the third baseman when the third baseman never touched the ball, but they're giving Cozart a run batted in. Gets curiouser and curiouser.
I stopped long ago trying to guess along with most scorers. We've got some good ones in Cincinnati.
Yeah, we've been lucky over the years. We both grew up with Glenn Sample and Ron Roth. What a tandem. And now Ronnie's still doing it. Mike Cameron in, and everybody we bring in, they're fair, number 1, and they know the rules. And you know what's great, Chris, too? It started, and I give credit to Katie Feeney and Phyllis Marriage. They've gotten the official scorers together. They're conversing more, communicating more, and even meeting more to try to go over procedures.
Yeah, they go to a seminar once a year to talk about certain issues. And Ron Roth is always willing to sit down and discuss as long as you provide a bowl of ice cream.
And discuss your baseball abilities when he was your youth coach. Fun days, huh?
Yeah.
Fun days. There's Marte 0 for 3. 3 balls and 1 strike. Lorenzen taking over, and just like Iglesias before him, he walks the first batter he faces. Australia was about as good as you could be. Went 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs allowed. The 2 runs came on a homer by Harrison and a homer by Joyce. Other than that, he was brilliant. He struck out 4 in his 6 innings of work. Iglesias came in, walked the first 3 he faced, and gave up a base hit that produced a run. And here in the 8th, Lorenzen walks the first man he faces. Here's Andrew McCutchen today. Ground ball to short, strikeout, and another ground ball to short. That's missing down and away. Against Lorenzen, you see those numbers in the last 2 years against this Reds right-hander. Now the first 2.5 months of the season, when you got to 7, 8, and 9, Brian Price didn't know. Nobody in the bullpen knew what was going to happen. But since Lorenzen, Iglesias, and Cingrani have taken charge of those innings, the Reds bullpen numbers have dramatically improved. In fact, when you look at the overall numbers, the April bullpen ERA for the bullpen was over 6. May it was around 5. June it was around 5. July it was 2.45. That's a big change. But not every day is going to be perfect, and Iglesias and Lorenzen are having a little bit of the yips today. Here are some specific numbers of the National League ranks. By the way, with their bullpen appearance yesterday, Chris, the Reds officially moved out of last place in bullpen ERA for the first time in about 2 months.
Yeah, not only did that first April to June bullpen have a higher earned run average, they had also a lot of different numbers and players that were all, you know, contributing to that. I mean, it was a revolving door down there. Guys were coming back and forth from Louisville. We were signing guys that we had never heard of and may never hear of again. And it seems to have settled down an awful lot. And not a bad bullpen at all right now. That is when Iglesias throws the ball the way he can.
2 balls and 2 strikes to McCutchen. The big left-handed swinger Matt Joyce on deck. And the dirt will go full. Well, Iglesias last inning went to 3 ball counts on the first 3 batters he faced, and same story here on the first 2 batters Lorenzen's faced in the 8th. Short lead, Marte down at first with the Pirates trailing by 4. That's fouled off to the left side. McCutchen sat for 3 days down in Atlanta trying to get his head together. His manager, Clint Hurdle, tried to give him a chance to take a breather on a season where his average has been in the low 240s. Line over the leaping effort of Suarez into left. It'll be first and second. That's the first hit for McCutchen today on the 3-2 pitch, and there are 2 on, nobody out in the 8th.
Well, McCutchen hit that ball on a line and went to left field, but before he even got out of the batter's box, he started jogging down the first baseline and looked either in the Reds dugout or over by the Reds on deck circle into some fans who may have been getting on him a little bit. Watch him look back here. That's a long look. Kind of interesting.
Leaping effort by Suarez, couldn't get a glove on it, so it's first and second, nobody out, and here's Joyce. Joyce today popped to short, hit a 442-foot homer to center. That's the first run that the Pirates got today, and he walked facing Iglesias in the 7th. Gozart Phillips, double play depth, middle of the infield. Fouled off on the pass ball at 92. Once McCutchen got to first, he went to one of the fans, giving him the silence treatment. And he's gone through a career, Chris, where he was never booed here. But in the last year plus, when he struggled with injuries, and then this year when he just struggled with numbers, there have been some pockets of fans that have started to shower him at times with boos.
How quickly you get spoiled.
Yeah.
They want to roll the clock back to those 20 years of losing.
Huh. No balls, 2 strikes to Joyce. Lorenzen to the stretch. Ooh, he wanted the call, didn't get it. It's 1-2. Zippity-doo, that'll take care of out number 1 in the 8th. Bullet from Lorenzen, out number 1. Strikeout number 1 for Michael. Well, here comes Gong. Gong today. Fly to center, single to right, and then walked in the 7th. Strike on the inside corner. Clint Hurdle saying before the game, if they're going to climb back into this hunt, they need McCutchen to be McCutchen, and they need Gong to come back and do what he did last year, which was produce offensively, swing and a miss. With the injury that he went through, Chris, though, I mean, it was devastating last year. They wondered when he would get back and if he would be anywhere near as effective as he was last year when he was an offensive and a defensive force. Played second, third, and short last year. This year he's been implanted at third when he was ready to play finally.
Well, last year he really came out of nowhere. He was signed originally and they figured he was going to be more of a backup than an everyday player. But then he played so well he started playing every day. And he got to the point where the team couldn't do anything without him, and when he was injured, it really hurt them a lot.
Line drive. What a stop. They'll get 1 at second, and a job by Cozart to save at least 1, maybe more. Good job by Cozart to flag down the ball and get an out at second. Another brilliant play by the Red shortstop for the 2nd out of the inning.
Well, how many times have you said that this year? What a brilliant play by Cozart. I mean, once a game it seems like this guy comes up with something like this.
Great job by Cozart to rob Gong of a hit and get the 2nd out of the inning. And a wise decision by Phillips too. He had no chance to get the runner over at first. So it's 1st and 3rd. Now 2 outs, and here's Jaso. Lined out, struck out, and walked. From the stretch is the Reds right-hander. Missing down and in. Tony Cingrani has gotten up and started to do his loosening now in the Reds bullpen. And action in the Pirate bullpen too. This is a Pirate bullpen now with 3 lefties. Bastardo's already been used. Felipe Rivero and the closer Tony Watson. Two and 1 to Jaso. Big swing and a strike. And really, Chris, when you look at the schedule, the Reds are going to have a lot to say about whether the Pirates make the postseason, because they play each other 8 times in September, the final 3 weeks of the season. That misses, and will go full 3 and 2. Votto will drop back at third. At first, rather, with the runner at third and the runner at first. Gong will be off and running. Swing and a miss, and Lorenzen and Iglesias both do what they need to do to get the final out of the 7th and the final out of the 8th. Reds hanging on to a lead 7-3 as we go to 9. 3, time for our Volkswagen drive of the game. Let's throw a little love to a great at bat, a pinch hit at bat from Tony Renda in the 7th inning. Gets a base hit. Chris drives in the 5th run for the Reds. Our drive of the game, another pinch hit effort by Tony Renda. So his second pinch hit productive performance and his second pinch hit base hit, as it turns out.
Interesting little player really Renda is. I know that you know, you come in, you're not really sure where you're going to fit in, how you're going to be used, but you just have to be ready when you're called on.
Here's Ramon Cabrera hitting in the 8th spot. Cabrera today bounced out twice and flied to center. For the Reds, 7 runs, 7 hits, no errors, 3 left. 3 runs, 5 hits, 2 errors for the Pirates and 6 left. If you're just joining us, Dan Straley, here's a big swing to center field, and McCutchen will put it in his pocket. 1 away here in the top of the 9th. Tyler Holt in the on deck circle. He'll come in to pinch hit in the number 9 spot. Dan Straley, 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs. He was brilliant, Chris. Went 4 innings without allowing a hit, gave up 2 homers. He was on his game. Your report card on Straley.
Well, I mean, the report card comes from the scoreboard, and I mean, Straley again just is able to do what he needs to do. Scatters hits, doesn't beat himself with bases on balls. He gives up a couple of long balls, big deal, solo shots. I think he continues to just amaze people and, you know, rejuvenate his major league career, which at the end of spring training was completely derailed.
His 7th straight quality start, his 14th quality start of the season for the Reds in his 22 starts. So Straley on the trail to get a victory today. It pushes record to 7-6. Iglesias pitched an inning, walked the first 3 he faced, got out of it allowing only 1 run. Lorenzen pitches the 8th, and Cingrani loosening up for the 9th. Up and in, just missing Holt. Holt's been the Reds' most often used pinch hitter. He and Ivan De Jesus Jr. Overall 4 hits in 29 plate appearances for Tyler. The starts have been infrequent for him of late, though. 1 ball, 2 strikes. On the offensive side for the Reds, in the first, it's been a Billy Hamilton kind of day. He walked on a 3-2 pitch. Votto walked. Duvall's ground ball produced 1 run. Phillips' base hit produced a 2nd run. The Reds led 2-0. Votto's sacrifice fly after Hamilton's double and a stolen base made it 3-0. Holt nipped at first. There's 2 away. The total for Billy on this day: 2 hits and a walk in 4 plate appearances, 4 stolen bases, first time this year with 4 bags. And for the 3rd straight year, he now has over 40 stolen bases, 43 on the year. Joe Morgan, of course, the Reds' all-time leader with 6 straight years of 40 stolen bases. And how about Brandon Phillips? He continues to deliver. 3 base hits for Brandon. 2 runs batted in on the day. Those are your offensive stars for the Reds on this day. 2 away, and here's Billy up for the 5th time today. The walk, the double, and the single. And maybe even just as impressive, Chris, the tumbling catch he made in center field on the line drive off the bat of Fryer. That's a strike.
That was really the most amazing play that we've seen all day today. We've seen some good glove work, too.
On the other side of it for the Pirates, Garrett Cole started 5 2/3, allowed only 3 hits, but walked 3. All 3 of the walks scored. And he gave up 4 runs. That's a roller into center. So it's a 3-hit, 4 on-base day for Billy Hamilton, and that on-base percentage as well as the average continues to rise. Last month and a half, major difference and his offensive proficiency. And here's Zach. Looked like he had his base hit in the 7th, but the official score ruled he reached on an error. So right now he's still sitting on a 14-game hitting streak, and he gets one more crack at it here in the 9th. Grounded out, struck out, popped up, and hit a bouncing ball past the drawn-in infield, and Gong at third. Gong didn't touch it, but it was ruled an error. But Cozart was given an RBI as the runner scored from second. He made 3 steps in a distance that some people would only make 1 step there. It's amazing. 4 stolen bases on the day. The last time he had 5 was last June at Chicago, when he was off to the races from his first at bat to his last. Does he go for 5 here? That's in there for a strike. No balls, 1 strike to Zach. Not going. Pitch up high.
You know, one of the things I've noticed the Pirates pitchers have done with runners on base that have a little bit of chance of stealing is that they're holding the ball a lot longer. I mean, one of the strategies for right-handers is instead of throwing over, you just vary your hold times, but they seem to want to hold the ball longer and longer and longer.
And John Jaso confirmed that when we talked to him on Saturday after they unveiled this formation down at first. He said, look, realistically, we don't think we're going to pick Billy off, and we don't have that many pitchers that have great moves. And you've said it all along, Chris. If you don't have a great move, what can you do? Number 1, don't throw over so they don't see how bad your move is, and number 2, hold the ball. They got Billy caught between second and first, but he will be thrown out back at first. Well, he gets his pocket pick finally on this day. So it goes 2 to 4 to 3, and they will challenge. Looks like the Reds may challenge. Up is Brian Price, holding his hand up, and now he says no, there will be no challenge. So the inning will end, and the Reds will go to the bottom of 9 leading. Has been brought to you by Kroger. Stop by your neighborhood Kroger to save big store-wide. Great food, low prices, all at Kroger. And by Toyota. For over 30 offers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. And as we promised you earlier today, Miller Time brought to you by Miller Lite. And it's Billy time. For Billy Hamilton today with the glove. Brilliant. A stumbling, tumbling catch on the line drive off the bat of Fryer. Dan Straley, as he's done time and time again this year, saying thank you very much, Billy. And defensively, Brandon Phillips contributed, as did Scott Schebler with great defensive plays. Schebler had one in right. Phillips, in addition to his base hits that produced RBI in the first, an RBI in the sixth, and an RBI in the eighth. And here's Tony Cingrani to try to nail it down as we go to the ninth inning.
Well, it took 57 pitches for the previous two pitchers who pitched the seventh and the eighth inning to get through their innings. Hoping Cingrani can do what he does right there and pump strikes.
See the numbers for Tony: 13 saves and 18 opportunities. He's taken over this leadership role at the end of the bullpen and trying to do it again here. Jordy Mercer drills one into right for a base hit. So Mercer gets his first hit of the afternoon after 2 strikeouts and a ground out. Well, the bullpenners haven't made it easy the last couple of innings. Iglesias walked the first 3 he faced. Lorenzen gave up a walk and a base hit the first 2 he faced. There's Sean Rodriguez. He will hit in the 8th spot and pinch hit. Rodriguez, of course, was the game 1 hero with a bottom of the 9th home run that gave the Pirates a 1-run victory over the Reds.
Oh,
he almost picked them.
That's how you rate a good move. When you nearly pick the runner off when he's not even stealing. He's just looking at you, paying attention, and he's still not sure that you're coming to first base until Votto has the ball. They're going to call a balk on that. What's happened here?
And out came Brian Price. I think they will challenge it to see if he tagged him.
Oh.
Brian Price came out. He almost immediately, the guys on the bench started pointing at first base. Take another look. Does he get him before his foot hits the bag? Might have.
You know,
Very
George,
close.
you and I both do the same thing as far as going down and visiting the umpires when they come to town. No matter what crew it is, we seem to get down there and talk to them. But I don't know about you, but the universal theme when you start talking to these umpires this year is about the number of plays that are being either asked to be reviewed by the umpires or hold up and give me a few minutes so that our guy can look it up on the video.
Yeah.
And that was never the intent. And if it's anything like football, it's just going to grow more and more and more.
Well, this one pays off for the Reds because after the review, which was a quick one back to New York, and again, remember, they tried to review earlier, couldn't get communication to New York. They finally gotten it right, and they will rule that Cingrani got the pickoff at first. So if you're on the home side on this one, you wait a while and have a smile on the fact that the base runners are raced.
And they got to be asking Jordy Mercer, where are you going in a 7-3 ball game?
So there's out number 1 of the 9th. Cingrani helps himself. You talked about those who don't have good moves, Chris. Cingrani does, and he comes close to balking, and that's the sign of a good lefty move.
What he does, the way to describe it, I think, when he gets his right leg up into the balanced position, he drives his leg down rather than just stepping one way or another. He really gives you the impression that he's driving towards the plate. And you have a good one when you're right on the edge of pushing it towards a balk. You know, one comment about the review process, the Reds are way better than average major league team as far as getting the number of reviews that they ask for go their way. They've been very, very good in that, more than 50%.
And give credit to Rob Coughlin and Bo Thompson, who have done it this year. They've split it. And It's not easy. You're on the griddle down there for any team and any of the video guys that are down there.
Rob has Bo on the road now because Rob's got a young baby at home.
Hey, congratulations to the Coughlins. They didn't waste any time. They did it the right way. And there's a walk. Now this inning would look completely different after the base hit without the pickoff. So Rodriguez takes the walk. There's 1 out, 1 on. And here comes Cervelli, who came in to pinch hit in the 7th and remained in the game.
They call Rodriguez Serpico. We had a shot of him standing there at first base. What do you think?
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good look-alike. Hit hard down to second. 4, 6. Yes, sirree, 3. Votto does a great job of coming back, tapping the bag, and that will do it. The Reds smiling scoreboard in Pittsburgh. Joey Votto will toss the baseball to Tony Cingrani, who gets to celebrate as Brian Price's challenge helped set up what was the game-ending double play, and good way to end this series, Chris, with a W here in Pittsburgh.
Well, it's really tough to have a sweep. Either way, any way you look at it, even on the road facing Garrett Cole, it didn't look like the Reds had anything going for him today, except the way that Dan Straley has pitched. And more he pitches like that, the more you expect him to pitch like that. So the Reds head from here. They go to St. Louis, where they'll be trying to make amends for the 2 out of 3 that they lost to the Reds at Great American Ballpark.
Brian Price can high-five his players as the Reds come up with a win today. More to talk about. The Reds 7 run, 8 hits, no errors, 3 left, 3 runs, 6 hits, 2 errors for the Pirates, 6 left. Whole lot to talk about coming up next. Reds Live post game presented by Performance Kings Honda. Jeff Piccolo, Brian Giesenslaw next.